Hey, and a pleasant good morning to you from Tony'sPicks.com, and welcome to Night Moves here for Tuesday, December 23rd. We're going to have a great sports betting day. All the leagues kind of winding up here in time for the holiday. Short note. Will be no night moves tomorrow. We just have a bowl game on Wednesday, the Hawaii Bowl, and hey, it's a good day for me to catch up on some rest and holiday enjoyment. So no night move show tomorrow. We'll be back on basically on Christmas Eve for Christmas. We'll be here when the clock strikes midnight in Las Vegas for Christmas here. So make sure you join me for that show. We'll preview the NBA and NFL games. College basketball is going to have a little bit of a respite here after tonight. And of course, the NHL also taking a day or two. So, hey, make sure you join me here in 2 nights for the next Night Move show, and I'll take tomorrow off. Who says I don't get a day off here? We'll take 1 day anyway and enjoy the holiday. Hey, did you enjoy last night's game in the NFL with the 49ers and the Colts? It was a pretty good game for what really turned out to be a blowout by 3 touchdowns. Hey, don't blame old man Rivers. Hey, he threw that pick 6, but he was already behind the. That was Rivers also when he wasn't engineering a comeback. It was all or nothing with Rivers back in the day. I know, having been a Chargers fan, riding with Rivers for all those years, but really it felt like the key play was the fumble on the kickoff, because the teams were trading points, and all of a sudden the Niners were able to get 3 points, 10 points straight, basically on 2 possessions after the Colts fumbled the kickoff there. The Colts scored TDs on their first 2 drives, but when you fumble the kickoff there away and allow the 49ers to kind of capitalize a little bit and make it 10 points in a row, 49ers look good on their first 4 drives, scoring 24 points. But San Francisco outgained the Colts in the game. Colts never got their running game together like I thought they would. The Niners are supposed to have some defensive woes, and maybe they did, but maybe Rivers was good too. Of course, Brock Purdy wasn't stopped at all with his 5 touchdown passes in the game, the first 49er to throw 5 touchdowns in a game since Steve Young did it against my Chargers in the Super Bowl. That was a game. That was a long time ago. Kittle, 7 receptions, 150 yards, and a touchdown. The 49ers have won their last 5 games all by 11 or more points. Their Indies lost 6 of 7 after a 7-1 start. Now they're really hanging on by a thread. Rivers, 277 yards, 2 touchdowns in that one, and that's pretty much it for the Colts. 3 teams clinched playoff spots with that Colts loss. They're still barely hanging on by a thread for that last playoff spot. Consider the Niners right now, if they can win their last 2 games of the season, both of which are at home, they could go all the way to the Super Bowl without ever having to board a plane again. They're probably getting back to San Francisco here shortly, and they might not have to board another plane to get to the Super Bowl if they can win the next 2 games at home and get amazingly, possibly home field advantage for the NFC playoffs and play the Super Bowl at home. You could do worse than taking the 49ers right now. They've dropped here to about 15-1 from about 18-1, but very interesting for a team that basically could be just staying home, playing those home games in that stadium. You saw last night John Lynch talking to Philip Rivers, one's the general manager, one's the quarterback, and Philip Rivers, they were showing him he once got sacked in the end zone for a safety or gave up a safety anyway to John Lynch, but could be the 49ers going back to the Super Bowl. As far as Rivers, I'm a big Rivers fan, and look, I don't know if he was ever going to be making it to the Hall of Fame, but his numbers are Hall of Fame numbers, but he has never won the title. Not all quarterbacks that didn't win, it's not necessarily a criteria to make the Hall of Fame. You can only one quarterback can win per year, and they're not all championship quarterbacks. Look at the struggle they said just to get Eli in. He's won two, but this might remind fans a little bit that Rivers was a pretty good quarterback and maybe resurrect what he did in his career, possibly. Now that his timetable's back on 5 years, they might forget again, but it was fun to see him out there. I think everyone got a kick out of it there. And, if they would have went with somebody else, hey, maybe it wouldn't have been quite as exciting early on as it was. I don't know. But how'd you do in Monday Night Football? Also, there was a bowl game there yesterday. How about the famous Idaho Potato Bowl? My man Josh Meredith got the MVP of the Idaho Potato Bowl. Meredith, who just happened to be from the area where I provide my local high school coverage, was a player in the district that I covered. He was a good player. He eventually transferred out to go to a bigger school so that he could get his career underway and get to the D1 level. It took a long time to get there, and he ended up at Washington State, ended up as the MVP in the game with 8 receptions. Eckhouse found him twice, 334 yards for Eckhouse over Utah State. Interestingly, these two teams will be in the same conference next year in the Pac-12 with Utah State going to the Pac-12. Watch out. Cougars outgained Utah State 628 to 254, and they ran the ball 41 times for 255 yards. But I was sitting here rooting for Meredith, man. What a performance by Joshua Meredith in that game to get the MVP. A few other notes. The Chiefs moving to Missouri. I mean, it looks good to go. Unfortunately, for those great fans in Kansas City, Missouri, they'll start to play maybe in a $3 billion dome stadium in probably in 6 years. The stadium will seat 65,000 fans. That's 10,000 less than Arrowhead, where the Chiefs have played since 1972. And big news. I mean, they're still the Kansas City Chiefs. They'll just be moving to better facility, and they deserve better facilities. And man, it was scathing that basically the city of Kansas City, Missouri, basically just balked on it. Said, "Hey, you guys are going to come to terms with us. This has been your home." No, there's other teams willing to host the Chiefs in a brand new stadium. So also DK Metcalf in that incident, man, they said that he has performance bonuses that he could be forfeiting between $25 million and $45 million. That's over the life of an extended contract, not just nobody gets a bonus like that, but because it was either a team or league-wide suspension, he forfeits some of the qualifications to get his bonus. So not only did he get a 2-game suspension, and it cost him $555,000 in salary, it also might cost him millions of dollars because he's on the suspended list because of his behavior previously. Those types of things were built into his new contract, and man, he might be giving up a lot of money. Temper. What was he thinking there, right? Good to see everyone here in the chat joining me for the show here as we get ready for our picks. We got big card here, man. 3 bowl games. We got NBA, NHL, and I've tried to pick a couple college basketball games out for what should be a long show. So settle in and get ready, and thank you for joining me here on Night Moves. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat, including Andre here as well. Mr. Weskers is here waiting for me to get here, and taking those Draymond props. Greg Gibson as well. Philip can start for a few different teams here right now. Maybe I was talking about it with some friends. Says, who would you take, Philip or this current quarterback? Greg says San Francisco looks like they are back. It's the defense. It's a problem. Even Phillip Rivers carved up these guys basically, right, for 27 points. But, man, with this offense that the 49ers have right now, they might not need a superior defense, like I said. But what I would question is why weren't the 49ers look, Phillip Rivers has a quick release. The reason why Phillip Rivers looks so good and you're like, why can't my quarterback do that, right? Because your quarterback is trying to extend the play. You got these massive, it's not college anymore, right? You've got these guys who are in there so fast, making sacks and everything like that. With Phillip, it's, you read, your reads are there. You look into the marker, and if not, you're going with your check down. And man, these guys could really figure it out. And that's what I think they saw this week with Phillip Rivers coming in here the last 2 weeks and working with Anthony Richardson. The promises that Richardson is learning from. This is just from Colts talk. I've been so on the Phillip Rivers bandwagon here over the last couple of weeks. I've been reading every article about his involvement. And, that's not to say that Richardson's ever going to turn around or Riley Leonard become the guy. Remember, Phillip Rivers is like a little, I want to say a big brother, but more like a dad to Riley Leonard. And, that's helped Leonard too in his current development. But again, I think that the Niners should have blitzed more. They should have brought the package, brought the house, and make Rivers, I guess he did make it very, very uncomfortable there for a while. But what a game. What an interesting game it was. Right, that's what T Money says. Interesting game there last night. Didn't feel like it was Rivers' fault, didn't it? There, yeah, the pick six, and you saw Warren though look like he kind of kind of gave the route away a little bit. Rivers knew as soon as he let go, he was already kind of running there to catch the guy. So Greg talking about that Washington State team. Man, Josh Meredith, that was great. I've watched him from a sophomore in high school. I have an interview with him as a high school player, talking about him as a young player. He wasn't even a senior at that time. Like I said, he left my district. So Greg wants the Chargers and the Niners in the Super Bowl. Yeah, maybe we get some revenge on those guys. They kicked the Chargers' butt in the Super Bowl, man. Jerry Rice and John Taylor and Steve Young in that game, and they lit it up against the Chargers in the Super Bowl for sure. But I will say this, at the time, the Chargers scored 29 points in that game, and at the time, it was the most number of points scored by a losing team in the Super Bowl. What kind of loser attitude do I have there? All right. Hey, we'll get to the show and talk about our games here tonight there's afternoon sports again tomorrow here, right, with the bowl games and the college basketball and a full slate of NBA. They're loading up for the holiday. Make sure and the same thing for the NHL. Holiday games, everyone's starting their holiday. It's great to go to a sporting event on the eve of Christmas Eve. So big sports day for sure here, and leading up to hello to Jesse Gomez in the chat. It says, what about the FAU game tomorrow? What do you think about that one, Ramon? It's good to think that Jesse talking a little college basketball. That's actually in my preview here tonight with 3 games I'm going to look at because we got so many pro games. All right, thank you for joining me here on Night Moves. Got a few dozen of you in here right now. I think we can start the show and start the previews. Thank you for joining me here on the show. Let's get it going here as well and get into the action here right now with our previews for today. We're going to start with the bowl games. Got to start with some college football. NBA cool, and hockey and college basketball, but it's bowl game season here for sure. Let's get to it and go out to the Boca Raton Bowl here in Boca Raton, Florida, with the Toledo Rockets taking on the Louisville Cardinals. How about this one to get us going here on Tuesday? Here, this one. Let me just get my notes together here with the action here today. Oops, I seem to have put my notes on the wrong page. That's rude. Okay, let me get started here. We'll break down these bowl games here. Toledo comes in here. They've been pretty dominant here, really, to close the season. They've won its last 4 games by a combined 125-15. The Rockets have significant experience on their offensive and defensive line, and a senior quarterback here in Gleason. So look, like I said, some of these teams, you got guys leaving in and out. Gleason, I think, actually, let me hold on a second here. I think he's actually out of this game with an injury. It's not a transfer. Yeah, for sure. Tucker Gleason is out of this game with a back injury for Toledo here. So that is a little bit of significance there for sure. I knew it wasn't a transfer with him, but he's been pretty good for sure this season. 2,500 yards are going to be missing from him, and he's got a high quarterback rating. But Toledo, pretty strong record as an underdog, 4-0. The last 3 years, they're so good in their conference. They're really rarely an underdog, 4-0 ATS. Louisville has struggled as a favorite this season with a 2-6 record overall, losing 3 of their last 4 games. But this is what the bowl season's all about, right? Trying to grade whether or not the ACC team here can be better than the MAC team in this one, and overcome and the spread too here. Of course, it has to be considered, but the move has been on Louisville from 10 to 8, and the total, of course, has dropped here from 46.5 down to 43. Both Toledo and Louisville have seen their recent games go under. Both teams come in here 8-4 straight up this season. Also, Louisville has gone under in 4 of its last 5 games coming into this game. But, Toledo's been the sharper team against the spread this season, 8-4 ATS overall. Like I said, strangely enough, Toledo just an underdog for the second time this season because of their, dominance in league play. They smashed Central Michigan, of course. Beat Ball, didn't cover, beat Miami of Ohio, got the money there. They beat NIU, lost to Washington State. You can look to see there a little bit of, just on the recent memory here of tonight's game. They lost to Washington State, a non-conference game in Pullman, 28-7. Toledo was actually favored in that game as well, believe it or not. For Louisville, they beat Kentucky in their finale, 41-0. But the losses before that were to Cal, to Clemson, and to SMU. So they were losing conference games in there. Got a chance to beat up on Kentucky there to end the season, strangely enough, at home as a 1-point dog to UK. Louisville just 2-7 against the spread this season as a favorite here, but does it outweigh going up against a MAC team here? Toledo's late season dominance and underdog history, to me, the fact that they're rarely an underdog kind of makes them live here, I think. And let's see if you guys, I want to say to everyone in the chat. Let me take a look and see who was in here and maybe has some comments on this one between Toledo and Louisville here tonight at the Boca Raton Bowl. I say tonight, it's 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific time here on bowl week, holiday week here. All right. Andre says, don't forget Louisville's missing a lot of players as well here. Let's see here. SF9er. Hello, SF9er. Andre says, Louisville wins, but Toledo can get the money. Greg also says, I think he likes Louisville. Oh, he likes Toledo here, I think, and the under. How about that? All right. Also, let's see here. Any more of this game here, guys? Louisville loses to good teams and wins against bad teams. Well, this I might consider Toledo a good team. I don't know what you think. I mean, they're a bowl team, obviously, and they're not some 6-win bowl team in here. They have 8 wins. They're from the MAC, so that has to be, I think, considered a little bit as far as, we've seen MAC teams go in and pull off games before, but we've also seen him get worked sometimes against certain opposition as well, I guess. So these two teams haven't played in quite a while, but Toledo did win this bowl game 21-19 3 years ago. Last 6 years, underdogs 4-2 against the spread. ACC teams faced off against the MAC 3 times this season, went 3-0 and 2-1 ATS. So of course, so with Louisville, you got uh, let me make sure you guys are talking about the injury report. Make sure we're all ready to go here with these guys. Brown questionable, Watson questionable in the backfield. That's look like where they're mostly decimated is in the backfield, and also a little bit with the receivers as well. See if we got some more picks. There's Good DZ. Hi, Good DZ. Nice to see you there. Welcome and hello. And let's see, Toledo will hang in there, says Greg Gibson. All right. I'll make my call on this one. Thanks again. Everyone's welcome to comment and be a member of the chat All-Stars. I can only put up the comments about the particular game that we're showing, so I don't mean to ignore those folks in the chat, but we do run a little extra show, and these videos get chopped up, so I try not to change the subject too much. So for those of you that comment on some other items, and Ramon ain't hearing it from me, it's mostly because of the construction of the show, and then we kind of make a separate video for each game. So I agree. I like Toledo to hang in here for sure. I'm going to take Toledo plus 8 points in this one here on Night Moves as my pick. Come on, Rockets. Let's beat the Ville. I think what you're going to see also, not that the Louisville Cardinals, but some of the more established teams, may have a little bit less to play for. The smaller schools have players that see greener pastures as well, but we'll see there. I mean, obviously, look at the Mountain West. We're going to get to them in a moment, but they haven't looked too good again in the bowls. They always suck in the bowls. All right. Good one there, you guys. Toledo and Louisville in the Boca Raton Bowl. I'll take Toledo. All right, we're going to go to let's go to the New Orleans Bowl at the Superdome. Man, if DeAndre was here, we could talk about this one. Look, the Southern, you got to figure you got the Southern Miss in here, the Golden Eagles 7-5 coming in. Maybe they're kind of a home team there a little bit, and also Western Kentucky coming in here had an 8-4 season. They did lose their final 2 games of the season, including that loss to Jacksonville State, 37-34. What a game that was. They lost it as 1.5-point favorites. Western Kentucky also took on LSU in Death Valley, but it was 13-10. They hung in there as a 24.5-point dog. So I think they're coming in here playing pretty well, even though they lost to Jacksonville State in that wild game. They won and covered against Middle Tennessee. They won and covered against New Mexico State. They won and covered against La Tech. They come in here with a 9-3 spread record right now, 6-2 against the spread as a favorite. I still have them a slight favorite here. Yeah, they're one. There may be 1.5 everywhere, although the move has been to Southern Miss here slightly, open as high as 3 or 2.5. Southern Miss just 1-2 against the spread as a dog, 5-6-1 against the spread overall. Southern Miss comes in off of the loss to Troy, 28-18. They also got beat up by South Alabama, 42-35. They were favorites in that game and lost. They lost to Texas State 41-14. They were favorites in that game and lost. Meanwhile, they also shown a win over Arkansas State on the road, but they couldn't cover in that game either. They did cover against Monroe. You lose Monroe. 49-21. They covered 14 in that one in a home win and cover, but maybe not as sharp here as Southern Miss coming in compared to Western Kentucky playing with a lot of momentum. These two teams haven't met in 5 years, but Western Kentucky's won all three meetings, previous meetings here in the series between these two. So get ready, get your pick ready if you want. I'll talk a little bit more about these two teams. This one goes off at 5:30 Eastern and 2:30 Pacific time, right after the Boca Raton Bowl here. Western Kentucky. I mentioned the 5-3 spread record, but also 5-2 or 5-3 spread record as a favorite. 6-2, 6-2. Some people may have. There was one that was really close, as I mentioned there, but 5-2 against the spread in single-digit spreads this season. The Hilltoppers have recent bowl success for sure. They've won 3 of their last 4 and average nearly 40 points in those games. Western Kentucky's always had kind of a good passing program, and I think you see this total here at 59 illustrates that point. Southern Miss comes in, like I said, on a bit of a losing streak here right now with 3 straight losses, some coaching turmoil as well. So it does feel like Western Kentucky's in a pretty good spot, and I think they're relatively healthy here. Lavelle Wright, they're good back. He is going to be out of here. He's not sticking around, so he's not going to be playing in this game. That's probably the most notable, I think. Here I'm going off my memory a little bit with these two, but both teams showing kind of under trends. If you look at it here, Southern Miss has gone under in 4 of their last 6. Western Kentucky's gone under in 6 of their last 9. Although Western Kentucky does, when they've played Sun Belt teams, the totals have gone a little bit higher. I think given the matchup, though, and recent defensive concerns, I don't know. I maybe be a little bit high here. I don't know if Southern Miss can cover it. Actually, let me go to the chat here. Maybe you guys have some opinion on this one with Western Kentucky and Southern Miss here in the New Orleans Bowl in Louisiana. Anyway, like I said, with the Southern Miss, their coach is going to be the coach over at Memphis right now. So the one thing that's been a problem in the bowl season so far, wish I could have all but teams without coaching staffs are in trouble. They're the players, yeah, but remember, I think the thing we need to talk about the complaints about the bowl season and players leaving or whatever, the bowl season doesn't represent, unless you're in the playoffs, right? The bowl season represents more a look ahead to the future than it does a consolation for this season. Yeah, maybe if you're 6-6 and you want to finish over 500, have a little bit of motivation or other motivations, but really you're already packed up and ready. You're looking to the next season. You're looking to get players in there who you want to get the seniors who maybe don't have a future in, but I think more so you're going to get players in here who are going to be playing in the next season for the underclassmen, if you will. So for Southern Miss here, there's still a decent situation with their offense, but 1-2 ATS as an underdog. They did go under in 3 of their last 4 as well. Sunbelt non-conference underdogs this season, 12-17 ATS. Like I said, Southern Miss just getting 1 point, so you might throw that out. But Western Kentucky, those games were really, really close. Even though they lost those 2, they've been playing well, no doubt about it. Hilltoppers, like I said, really productive in their bowl games. These teams, like I said, they have not met in 6 years. Western Kentucky won them all before that. So underdogs also 2-0-1 in the last 3 New Orleans Bowls. But again, with this near pick'em price, I got to take Western Kentucky here, the Hilltoppers in this one over Southern Miss. Like I said, I think when you've got it's the coaching staffs that I'm worried about. They seem to play a little bit less disciplined. They don't seem to have a good clock management going near the end of the games. They're playing basically with a makeshift coaching staff in a lot of these situations without much leadership. So I think that becomes a factor as well. Give me Western Kentucky here, and let me hear from you in the chat on this one with Western Kentucky and Southern Miss. Mr. Weskers does like Southern Miss plus that 1 point. And let's see here. He's looking maybe to get 1.5 as well. Greg here, he likes Western Kentucky to win this one. Right on the money there with the total. Thank you to Greg today. Andre says he's got Western Kentucky. He's got the toppers here in this one. Greg says it should be Western Kentucky favored by 4 in this game. And Mr. Wesker says those jerk coaches, but Southern Miss can still win without them. Oh, it's typical Mr. Wesker's fashion there. That got me. That's a good one. Okay. Greg says easy win unless someone is out for Western Kentucky. Well, look, like I said, I think if you look at this, I don't know if it's a big factor for you, but I do believe that Western Kentucky is missing their star running back in this game, who I believe was entered the portal. Okay, so take a look at that one, though. I'll still take Western Kentucky here in this one. Western Kentucky, their running back was down, but they're really just barely a top 100 team in rushing yards. They do it through the air. They're a top 25 passing team as far as yards are concerned, and that's their real strength. Southern Miss, a very opportunistic team. I believe they're in the top. I believe they're top 5 in turnover differential, or forcing turnovers anyway. I believe forcing turnovers this season. All right, great job there from the chat. Thank you. And let's move on to our night game now. This one's at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. I think are we back in Frisco here for the second time in a week at the Dallas Cowboys training facility? It's a training facility for the Cowboys. It's a huge, big stadium for the rest of these teams at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco with the Frisco Bowl, not San Francisco or the other Frisco, but Frisco, Texas here. And the UNLV Rebels, my Rebels here, 7-point favorite over Ohio U. UNLV coming in here with a 10-3 record. Yes, they are off the loss to Boise, 38-21. That was going to be a tough game all the way. They were hot before that. The Rebels have had a great season, man. They crushed Nevada, beat Hawaii and covered, beat Utah State. Think about it, because Utah State did just play there yesterday. We mentioned Washington State. They beat Utah State at home. Did not cover that game. The Aggies covered. They clobbered Colorado State on the road, 42-10. So the Rebels come in here just 6-4 against the spread as a favorite, 7-6 against the spread overall. They haven't overachieved, or they haven't been underrated at all. They've been pretty good. They did go 5-2 ATS on the road. We're obviously in a neutral site here. Rebels a little bit closer, but Ohio U comes in here 3-1 against the spread as an underdog this season. I mentioned the Mountain West. I mean, they really are bad in the bowl season. They're playing a MAC team here, so that's a little bit different. Like these other ones, even yesterday with Utah State, you think of Washington State being in the Pac-2, if you will, but again, they were in a major conference before the breakup of the Pac-12. But for Ohio U here, they come in off of a win over Buffalo, 31-26. It did not cover in that one. They also beat UMass, did not cover. They lost to Western Michigan, 17-13 on the road. They beat Miami of Ohio at home, got the money, but they failed to cover in a win at Eastern Michigan. But they did finish just 6-6 ATS, and like I said, 3-1 as an underdog this season for Ohio U. So UNLV has had some experience in the bowl season here last couple of years. They're also pretty strong. Like I said, ATS as a favorite this season. I think the Rebels, have the advantage here as far as returning talent on offense. They've got a solid quarterback here in Calandria. Also, UNLV look, they've had some big offensive production games this season, but they've also given up some big points too. Ohio averages 31 points in their last 6 games, and UNLV's given up 56, 40, 38 points. So the recent matchups between the Mountain West and MAC regular season Orange Bowls always high scoring. And well, you look at this total here, and what can you say now? Look, UNLV does have more. I'd say they have the talent in returning on offense, but they're missing more players for sure from this game than the Ohio Bobcats here. So I still think they have the experience and the roster advantage, but just seems like the Mountain West not very good at covering spreads, and Ohio should be able, I believe, to put enough offense together here to warrant taking the 7 points in the Frisco Bowl. And I've got to go with the Bobcats here. UNLV, become a pretty big fan of theirs, obviously, just up the street. But I think Ohio U here will be the play for me. Let's hear from you in the chat and tell me what you think here in this one. Man, the Rebels they gave up 56 in a game, they gave up 40 in a game, they gave up 38. Yes, they're playing a MAC team here, but a couple of those games were Mountain West Conference. They're not Mountain West Conference. They're not necessarily better than the MAC anymore, or maybe ever were. They're supposed to be, but. All right, let me go to the chat though here in this one. Coach Mullen, he's definitely been in some bowl games with UNLV before he got to UNLV as well a little bit. 7-3 in his bowl career. UNLV's gone under in 4 of their last 5 coming in, and for Ohio U. They do have some major concerns here also with their coaching staff, but unlike the other situations where the coach leaves and then takes the other coaches with them and it becomes in disarray. This one was the coach got fired basically just a few days ago. The whole staff is still there. They're going to plug in here. You're just missing the head coach. He basically had one of those off-field situations here. I don't even know if they've said exactly what it is, but he was suspended for like one day and then they fired him the next day, citing some transgressions. Who knows? But I'm sure that story will come out. They've got a pretty good quarterback in Navarro. They've won 5 of their last 6, have the Bobcats. So I know I made the statement about the mix, the coaching staffs, but again, this whole staff is staying together. The coach is the head coach is the one that got fired. What is it with these coaches here? I love the one they talked about Sharon Moore, just random OnlyFans and Instagram models. Coach always sliding into those DMs, huh? All right. Bobcats in their last 6 bowl games, 6-0, straight up 5-1 against the spread. So I'm not too fretting about this coaching situation here. These teams have not met. I didn't even write the last time they met. I know they haven't met since the pandemic here, but favorites are 5-4 ATS in the Frisco Bowl. I'm going to take Ohio here plus the points. And let's see what you got. Then maybe, the coaching situation may be the tiebreaker for those of you. Let's see what you got. Greg says UNLV and over here. Mr. Wesker says usually fades UNLV, but against Ohio, maybe not so much. Greg says UNLV is still mad about that Boise game. Andre says UNLV money line and under. Just too many points. Oh, I don't know if it is. It might get crazy out there. Greg says they might take the Bobcat. They might take the Bobcats out behind the woodshed here. Ohio ain't ready for this challenge. And Greg also says the Running Rebels are money. Show up and show out in Frisco. All right, I guess I'm on the dog here, +7. I think UNLV can win this game still, but man, to cover a spread like this right now, again, it was a stunner, that coaching situation with Ohio, but again, they still have all the other coaches there as well. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Great preview of the college bowl games there on Tuesday. And we're going to go next to a massive card here in the NBA. Strap in, settle in, and get ready. Is every team in action here on this card before we get to the Christmas Day games here? It's almost time to open our gift. And hey, you know what? Everybody says, hey, the NFL moving in on the NBA on Christmas. There, who cares, man? Give us some Christmas. You can only take so much of the family. All right, here we go. Let's get into it here right now with our matchups here in the NBA on Tuesday night. All right, first off here, we've got, pardon me, guys. The Brooklyn Nets are going to be on the road taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Sixers a big favorite in this one, 8.5 to 9.5 to 17.5. Looks like it's gone up maybe just a half a point here. Some spots still showing a 9 in this one. For Brooklyn, they're coming in here off of a win over Toronto the other night, 96-81 in a low-scoring game here. They were getting 3.5 points in that one. They've actually been alternating wins and losses. Nets have won 3 of their last 5 games coming in here. Break them up. Meanwhile, here for Philly, they come in here on a 2-game winning streak. Wins at New York, at home against Dallas. The Sixers have covered 4 straight games right now coming into this game. So, hey, how about that for the Sixers right now, doing a pretty good job. This has been kind of a under city for Brooklyn here of late. They've gone under in 12 of their last 14, and Philly's gone under in 6 of their last 8 games coming in. Both teams kind of trending to the under here of late. Philly is 5-1 against the spread in their last 6, and not to mention Brooklyn has kind of struggled in this matchup. But man, 9 points here with a Philly team that, yeah, they are pretty good here. ATS, we know that. 9-4 ATS is a favorite for Philly, actually, but boy, it does seem tough, right, with this Philly team to lay near double digits, even to the Nets. Like I said, the Nets, if anything, they are having a little taste of success here, even though they've been obviously one of the bottom teams in the league here so far this season. But hey, they're perking up a little bit. Cam Thomas is still out here of this. It's been over a month. Why we fretting on that? PG probable, Embiid probable, so maybe that could help the situation with the Sixers here. Sixers won the last 2 meetings here in this series and covered the spread in both of them. So also, like I said, they covered in 4 straight. So, okay, I'm going to make my pick here in this one between the Nets and the Sixers, but I also want to hear from you in the chat. So give me your picks, and we'll play them on the screen if it pertains to this game. Give me the under here, though, with Brooklyn and Philadelphia. Like I said, to me, these 2 teams pretty solidly going under here right now, and maybe just a little hesitant to lay some big points. I'll go ahead and take the under. All right, now let's see what you got here. Big comments from the chat. Nice to see you here. And let's see here we got here in the chat with our game between the Nets and the Sixers. Here is Mr. Westers. He likes the Nets here in this one. Hey, you want to say hello to Lendl Jr. Man, what a great name. Manny Von Lendl was so great, wasn't he? Man, good to have Lendl Jr. here. He wants to talk Michigan, Texas already at this point. Oh, man, we got plenty more shows to go, Lendl Jr. Mr. Westers, he knows those Sixers, doesn't he? All right, and Andre here, let's see, he says, money line for the 76ers. Snoop the Iceman, he's getting a little loose in there a little bit. I guess I have to delete Snoop, maybe I'd let him in there, except my mom's dead. My mom's passed away. Sorry, man. See you later. See you later, Snoop. All right. Let's see. Philly just blew them out in Brooklyn 2 weeks ago, 118 to 103. Philly won and got the money. They also got the money in Brooklyn earlier, back in early November. Here's Andre says Maxey and Edgecombe over in their points. Nets team total under for Andre, too. Quick revenge for Brooklyn there, says Greg, after those 2 wins. Renee, nice to have Renee in the chat. Likes the under. Thank you, Renee. Awesome to have you here as a member of the chat All-Stars tonight. And let's see. Andre says the 76ers do the bulk of the scoring. All right. All right, next up, we've got the Washington Wizards taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Boy, if it wasn't no sports, we'd just skip this one. If it is a monster slate, but we're previewing them all here tonight. Hey, Washington's actually won 2 of their last 4 games over here. They beat Memphis. They beat Indiana as underdogs. They're underdogs every game pretty much this season. They've only been favored twice. They're getting the money here against getting the points here against Charlotte, 6-point dogs. They're 10-15 against the spread as an underdog. Charlotte, meanwhile, just a favorite for the 5th time this season. They're 1-3 against the spread as a favorite, although they are 8-6 against the spread at home. Charlotte's not only 1-3 against the spread as a favorite, they're 3-1 to the over as a favorite. Washington 14-11 to the over as an underdog, although Charlotte is 5-9 to the under at home this season. Charlotte games have stayed under in 10 of their last 13 overall, and this series is a long, big-time under. 13 of the last 20 between these two have went under. The teams met once already this season. Charlotte got it done. They won by 26 on the road here as just a 1.5-point dog. The Wizards are 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games against Charlotte, and covering despite covering some numbers here despite some poor spread results. Let's just face it here. They did get it done in their last game against Cleveland last night, 139 to 132, and we had Charlotte there in that one here on Night Moves last night. We took Charlotte plus the points there, right? So let's see what you have in this one between Washington and Charlotte, and get your play together in the chat here if you'd like. And I'll make my play here as well between these two. All right, let's see what we got. Greg says he likes it 120 to 115, so he likes Washington there. And Mr. Wesker said, the fact that they played last night maybe taking a little bit of momentum from Charlotte, but they didn't win that game. In fact, they had to kind of come back late just to get the money there in that one. But again, they are the team obviously on the back-to-back here. Washington won twice last year in Charlotte, 113 to 100, 124 to 114. Andre says he likes the Hornets here in this one. So we'll see on the injury report what happens with these two. You're going to have Wizards, plenty of guys. Sarr, questionable. Whitmore, questionable. Middleton, questionable. Kispert, they've got a ton of injuries coming into this game. For Charlotte here, Sexton, Kalkbrenner, Plumlee, still going to be questionable here. And Grant Williams, he's been out all year. Forget that. Okay, we got here Charlotte tired, Washington will win. And I want to say hello to Charles Philip Bowen. Nice to see you in the chat there, Charles. All right, that's going to do it for that one. And for me, I'm going to make the call here in this one. I'm going to go ahead and lay it here with Charlotte, actually. Give me the Hornets Even though on the back-to-back here, I'm going to take them to win and cover at home against the Wizards. The Milwaukee Bucks on the road here against the lowly Indiana Pacers. Pacers played last night and lost again, 103-95, but they did get the money against Boston. They are on a pretty big losing streak, though, right now. Meanwhile, for Milwaukee here, they've lost 3 in a row as well, although they did cover last time out against Minnesota, lost by just 3, getting 12.5 points. These two teams are solid under teams right now, especially Milwaukee, 4-9 to the under on the road. Indiana's 10-14 to the under as a dog here, and you see the total there at 220 or so. I think it shows that this one's probably going to be a lower scoring game. These two teams met back in November. It was 117-115. Milwaukee won in Indiana as a 6.5 point favorite. So the Pacers did get the money in that game. Indiana has covered 10 of their last 15 right now. That's the crazy thing about this Pacers team, 6-23 straight up, but they are able to get some numbers here, and maybe against this Milwaukee team that's starting to struggle again. They're 4-8 against the spread as a favorite. I'm showing Milwaukee still the 1.5 point favorite here. They're also 5-8 against the spread on the road, but both teams are trending under here. The series, though, I think is a bit of an over series. 2 of the last 3. In fact, the game against the last game was an under, even though they scored 235 points. It was 235.5 in that game. So that is interesting to note for sure. But let's see what you have. Anything here in the chat in this one between Milwaukee and Indiana on Tuesday night. And I'll go to the chat all-stars here. I know that you guys are excited to hear from my crew, the crew. Okay. Let's see here. Real Deal Prime. Hey, man, Real Deal Prime's in the chat. Nice to see Real Deal Prime. Mr. Wesker's liking the Pacers. He says they're strange, you know. They're not supposed they're not supposed to be losing the games and covering the spread. Maybe that shows just a little too much effort, I think Mr. Wesker says there. And also, hello to Michael in the chat. Nice to have you, Michael. Really appreciate you stopping by. Andre says the Pacers have to win this game. They have to win a lot of games, actually. Greg says he likes the Pacers to win this one by 4. And I don't mind that here necessarily either. But I'm going to go with the under in this one. This seems like a pretty solid under, actually. Give me the under in this one between the Bucks and the Pacers here on Tuesday night. Pardon me, gang. There's a cough button. Toronto is on the road taking on Miami here. Both teams coming in off a pair of losses in this one. For Toronto, back-to-back losses to Boston and Brooklyn. They were actually favored in both those games and did not cover, obviously. If they can't win, they can't cover. For Miami here, back-to-back losses to Boston and the Knicks on the road. They return home after a 1-2 road trip to the metro area. They also beat Brooklyn on the road trip. Toronto comes in here with some struggles for sure. They're 12-18 against the spread overall. Miami 16-12 ATS, 8-6 ATS at home coming in. Toronto's gone under in 5 straight. Miami's gone under in 6 of their last 8. Toronto's under in 10 of 15 road games on the road this season. Toronto has covered 9 of the last 13 meetings between these teams, but Miami's been the better cover here so far this season. Toronto's, the better record straight up, 17-13 coming in. The teams did meet here just about 1 week ago. Toronto won it at Miami here, 108-96. So there's your revenge factor here, possibly in this one. But Toronto has been banged up here a little bit of late, and I think that's kind of been what's holding them back. Tyler Hero's definitely out of this game. Podol is out for the Raptors here. Jovic remains out for the Heat. Pele Larson still, it's been 2 weeks now for him in this one. So, look, Toronto's good record against Miami historically, even if they are kind of struggling overall. Let me go to the chat in this one and see what you got here with Toronto and Miami, and we'll make the call here in this one. Here come the comments from the group. Okay, Greg says he's got Miami to cover this one. And, yep, he likes Miami to cover. Andre says, is Barrett back? No, Barrett, let me see here. No, still out. I don't even think we have a timetable, so that's why I had to check on it. Mr. Weskers here is on the Raptors in this one. Greg says by game time, Miami's going to go up to a 6.5 point favorite. Mr. Wesker says that Toronto starting five can do a good job, but the bench issues will not hurt here. Renee likes Miami to cover this one. Sports Fan is here tonight, has the over. Hi, Sports Fan. I'm going to go ahead and take the Heat. Like I said, I think this one is one where you can point to a little bit of revenge, and I believe the Heat have been the better cover here for the most part. I'm going to trust the Heat here. A lot of people say no Hero, no problem. I think you'd still like him in there, but I'm going to take Miami in this one. New Orleans Pelicans, the hottest team in the NBA. Kinda. Pretty much. Can you believe what this team has been doing here? They got another win last night against Dallas, 119-113, and a big-time comeback there last night. They were definitely behind in that game, right? Outscored Dallas 40-26 in the fourth quarter. Did we have them here on Night Moves? You better believe we did. We had another big night here on the show, right? Mentioned the hot streak that we were kind of on there. We did go 5-2 last night here on the show. We had the Hornets, we had the Pacers Celtics under, we had the Pelicans, we had the Nuggets to roll, and we had the Portland Trailblazers in that just call it the Portland Trailblazers in that come from behind. Oh, they didn't get the money. But shame on me. 4-3. All right. Boy, it felt like Portland in that comeback. I think I lost track of the game there at the end. They came all the way back, but my bad. Detroit got the cover. Anyways, let me cover it here with the Pelicans, man. These guys are hot right now, winning like nobody's business. They've been underdogs in every game here recently, but are on the massive winning streak right now coming into this one. For the Pelicans, they've basically covered 6 straight games. Cleveland, they've gone 0-6 in their last 6 games. They played last night as well against Charlotte. They won the game, did not cover, and before that they had lost 3 in a row. So they're definitely having some issues. 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two teams have gone over here. There was one game in New Orleans. I graded it as an under. My notes might be a little bit off. 4 out of the last 5 over for sure in the recent meetings between these two. Now, New Orleans has been the moneymaker this season. I mean, they've been money in the bank with this cover streak right now, covering 9 of their last 10, 17-10 as an underdog this season. Cleveland, meanwhile, has been a money burner. 8-22 against the spread despite a 16-14 record, 4-14 against the spread at home, 7-20 against the spread as a favorite. How do you not take this New Orleans? Now, maybe because They both played back-to-back. Maybe that will help Cleveland because New Orleans, the traveling team here, they're coming in from New Orleans to play this game. Meanwhile, Cleveland, they were on the road as well. So you kind of could look at it as no, I'm sorry. Cleveland was at home in that game against Charlotte. So they've been here, third game of the homestand right now. So that could be a little bit of a factor. But man, New Orleans is on fire right now and doing a great job. Not only covering, they're winning. So let me hear what you guys have in this one between these clubs. Cleveland is 6-12 to the under at home, although New Orleans is 17-11 to the over as a dog, although 5-7 to the under on the road here. Let's go to the chat in this one. Thanks everybody for joining me here tonight on Night Moves. All right, here we go with Mr. Wesker says he likes the Pelicans to lose this game. They came back from being down twice in that game last night. It's going to be just a little bit tough here when you got to go now into Cleveland. Cavs here for Andre. Says Pelicans are not good. Dallas is terrible, so you can't really put that much into the win over Dallas. Mr. Wesker says, yeah, the issues are the Cavs. They're like one of the worst spread teams in the league by far, especially at home. 4-14 record. Greg here, though, says no problem. He says lay it with the Cavs, and he likes this one right on the total, so he likes the Cavs. Mr. Wesker's liking the Cavs to roll here tonight. And Greg says that reality sets in here for the Pelicans. I like teams that make money. I'm going to take the Pelicans here in this one, plus the points. Cleveland, they just get it done, right? They just get it done. They just win, and then they don't cover. So who's to say that Cleveland could get a blowout? They can't cover anything right now. The Bulls are taking on the Hawks, and look at this total. Well, we just saw the other night, right, that outrageous game between these two, 152-150, just 2 nights ago at Atlanta here. So they're playing one of those duplex games because they're coming right back to meet here in Atlanta. And, man, that was I guess it went over. 302 points scored. It went way over. In that game. It was still 248.5 in that one, and that's the way all these Bulls-Hawks games have been. It's no joke. I mean, these guys are always have a high total coming in. Quite frankly, so do the Bulls in all these games with this woeful defense of theirs. Bulls here are 11-3 as an underdog this season. Hey, they got the money in that other game, right? The Bulls actually won the game 152-150. So we had them in that one because, hey, the Bulls are a very strong underdog, 11-3 as a dog. They're not flying an airplane to get here. They've been in their hotel room, hopefully, for the last 48 hours. Here, it can get in trouble in Atlanta. You know what kind of clubs we go to in the ATL. Atlanta's 5-10 against the spread as a favorite, 4-9 against the spread at home. This has been Atlanta's woes here a little bit. They're just a 500 team. Chicago's rebounded to get back to 13-15 here, having won and covered 3 straight games. They had those back-to-back wins against Cleveland in the home and home before this. Atlanta, meanwhile, has lost 3 straight, and they're on a non-cover streak for sure coming into this one. Chicago on a spread run here of 13-5 versus Atlanta. Right now, they've had the better part of this series. Atlanta games basically flying over the total here of late, and 4 of the last 5 in the series have gone over. Can this one go over 254? Probably. Let's go to the chat though and see what you have here. We've got the Bulls money line for Andre. And Mr. Wesker says when you got Trey back flailing his arms and trying to draw fouls there, right? I gotcha. Let's take a look at maybe at the injury report coming in though. Uh, Dyson Daniels is out for Atlanta. That's pretty much the only recent major injury. Greg here does like he likes it under. He likes it under the 254, and he also likes the Bulls to cover the spread. Thank you, Greg. All right. Hey, I got to go over in this one at 254. Come on, I'm going to go over 300. Well, maybe not 300, but let me take the over here in this one on Tuesday night. I'll go over with the Bulls and the Hawks. The Denver Nuggets are on the road taking on those Dallas Mavericks. Denver coming in here 21-7 right now, and hey, they coming in here off of a win in their last game out there too. Utah last night, they blasted them. They were ahead at one point. I think it was what was it, 35-3, 25-3? I don't know what it was. I know Utah had 3 and Denver had a bunch. They outscored them in the first quarter last night, 40-15. So it was a little bit of a modest comeback there for the Jazz, but Denver got the win and covered. You know, when Denver wins, they usually cover. That's just the way it goes right now. For Dallas, meanwhile, back-to-back losses to Philly and New Orleans on the road, but they do return home here. They did cover in the first meeting against Denver at Denver, 131-121. Denver, I mentioned them covering when they win. They're 15-9 against the spread. You might not like Dallas, but they are a moneymaker. 13-8 against the spread as a dog this season. That's their best role. They're 2-7 as a favorite. So they're in their best role, but Denver knows how to cover when they win. Let's see here. Injury report. Max Christie questionable for Dallas. That's really the only short-term injury that we see here to update the status on in this one. You guys can come in with your pick in the chat, though, here as well with this matchup. Denver on the road here at Dallas. Denver is 16-8 to the over as a favorite, 9-5 to the over on the road. Dallas, however, is 7-10 to the under at home. Denver, pretty strong form here right now. Both teams kind of trending over right now, despite Dallas's home history. Dallas went over in the loss to Philly. They went over in the loss to Utah. Let's go to the chat here in this one and see what you have with Denver tonight. Laying some points here on the road against the Mavs. Yeah, Mavs having their struggles, but will Denver here? Let's take a look at what you have in the chat. All right. It is Nuggets just keep destroying. Yeah, you know, they lost that game to Houston. They were an underdog in that game, remember, at home to Houston. So, like I said, they win. When they win, they cover. That's just the way it goes, right? Vegas wants you to think Chicago. Oh, he's on the wrong game there. Nuggets, no-brainer here for Andre. Greg says 125, 118. Denver. He likes this one to go way over, does Greg? Yeah, he does. I think that's kind of the way to go as well. I'm going to go over in this one. I agree with Greg here. Give me the over with Denver and Dallas here on Tuesday night. The New York Knicks are on the road taking on Minnesota Timberwolves. You might be able to get a little more mileage out of the cat situation here, as because anytime going back into Minnesota a little bit, it might mean a little bit more with the cat narrative. For the Knicks here, they end off of a win last time out. Got that win here the other night against Miami. They've been having a good run here of late. The Knicks, they did lose to the Sixers, remember, in that upset, but They have failed to cover here in 3 straight. Minnesota, meanwhile, coming in off that win over Milwaukee, did not cover. Both teams have been kind of struggling to the number here right now. Knicks have been a great cover this season, but they're 4-8 against the spread on the road and 1-2 against the spread as a dog. Just the fourth time this season they've been an underdog. For Minnesota here, they're 8-15 against the spread as a favorite this season. They've been a crummy favorite. It's been a crummy against the spread overall. 19-10 record, but 11-18 against the spread, almost opposite. So they're not good laying the points. They usually just do enough to win. Against a team like the Knicks, it's 20-8 overall and 18-11 against the spread. I don't know if there's enough sample size at just 1-2 as a dog, but like I said, they haven't been great on the road with just a 4-8 record overall coming in. So let's see if that affects anything here with you guys and to get your pick in this one. I see this one actually has been climbing much higher here right now to 228, which is surprising because Jalen Brunson is already ruled out of this game. OG is out as well. McDaniels is questionable for Minnesota here. So look, OG had that great game, but he's going to miss this one. You're missing already your 30-point per game scorer in Jalen Brunson here. That's why the spread's 7 here, obviously. But can the Knicks kind of still sum it up a little bit and get this cover? Minnesota, remember, they had that great win over Oklahoma City. They came back against Milwaukee, still got the win, didn't cover, but was a big confidence booster to really thump Oklahoma City in that game the other night, 112-107 as a 5.5-point dog. So those seem like two key injuries right now for New York in this game. Let's see what you have, though, here, if anything, with our chat all-stars. Greg says he likes the Knicks here to cover the spread. I think I'm going to update the line here, too, guys, because this one, like I said, it's definitely gone higher here over the last few minutes. I'm showing it up to 228 here, which is interesting when you're missing those, the 30-point per game scorer in Brunson and OG, who's the man who kind of has been able to step up his scoring as well. Does seem pretty peculiar, actually. So, all right, in this one, I'm going to take the Minnesota Timberwolves here against the Knicks to cover the spread. Like I said, they beat the Thunder by 5. Maybe they could beat the Knicks by more than 7 here without two top players. Yes, Cat will come in here and be ready to go and have a great game, but Minnesota is 5-11 to the under at home this season. And New York's offense really, they've not totally been going over here of late. I mean, every game has been kind of right on the number, it seems like, with these guys for the most part. Minnesota will win if Brunson's out. I'm showing him out of this game. I'm showing him out. But I've been wrong before. I do pay for them. I do pay for my injury updates. They better be good. I mean, you can get free injury updates anywhere, but I mean, I have it where, they're supposed to send it out as soon as it gets going. Okay, so we keep moving here. Big card, man. We're not even we're just halfway done pretty much. All right, whoops. Yeah, I went too far. Here we go. The Thunder and the Spurs, a game of the night here for sure, right? In San Antonio, with the Spurs coming in on a 3-game winning streak. Man, even when they didn't have Wembanyama, they kept winning, and now he's back, and they're just chopping up. For OKC here, they've actually lost 2 of their last 4 games. They looked pretty good last night in the win over Memphis, 119-103. Strangely enough, right? The Grizzlies, for the most part, I'm pretty sure it was a cover for the Grizzlies, right? 16 and a half. It went down to 15 and a half at a lot of books. Wow. Just on the number there last night. We are seeing movement here on night moves at this hour. In fact, this one is going down for sure because we're seeing even 5.5s out there right now. And the total here still at 234 or so, but there's no doubt the move is here on the Spurs. Look, the Thunder played last night. That's got to be part of it here right now. The Spurs did not play last night. They beat Washington 2 nights ago, 124-113. Did not cover. They were laying a pretty big number there, and probably too much even for a team like the Spurs going up against Washington. But Spurs are 8-3 against the spread at home, 7-4 against the spread as an underdog. Oklahoma City 16-13 against the spread as a favorite, although 7-7 against the spread on the road. The Spurs are 5-7 to the under at home here. Both teams are kind of trending under in my book. For the last 5 meetings between these two teams have gone under here as well. And this shapes up. This feels like a big playoff type of game to me. I mean, the Spurs aren't going to go south. They're for real here with their 21-7 record right now. Just basically 4 games worse than the Thunder. I should say the Thunder 4 games better. I mean, these are 2 of the top teams in the league here right now in what should be an awesome game here. Teams just met 10 days ago. Spurs won it, remember, at OKC, 111-109 if you want your revenge factor, but it is tempered by the fact that last thing I saw, I think, watching the NBA tonight was another post-game interview by the Thunder. Well, I did watch those 2 late games as well, but also last year the Spurs did have a win 110-104 over the Thunder as well. So let's see what you got, man. OKC 6-2 against the spread here of late. The losses were straight up losses. So let's see what you got, man. Great one here. Game of the night. Got to check out this one. I think it's a regional televised game, though. I think didn't look at the national schedule here. Isn't it Peacock night or something? Isn't this or is a holiday no Peacock? I didn't check the full television schedule. My bad. I'm supposed to know everything coming into this show. Spurs against the spread. What's Wemby's minutes? He's ramped them up now. Wemby here starting to come back a little bit with his overall minutes in here currently. In fact, let me see. I think in that last game against Washington, let me see here. I do have that. 21, so it still was under that 24 a little bit, but who cares? I mean, geez, these guys are just impossible right now. Greg says, in this league, players are out, and as soon as the game starts, they're in. Well, those teams should be fine, actually. I don't mean to be a smart ass, but you cannot lie on your injury reports. So I think it might be just kind of a narrative. But Wembanyama is actually on the injured list for this game, questionable with his calf strain, but we'll see. They had a day off. Holmgren is questionable tonight. I don't know if he's going to make it, actually. Hartenstein, questionable. We did see him there walking around on the court a little bit. A.J. Mitchell, questionable. Forward Jalen Williams, questionable. Aaron Wiggins, questionable. Uzumane Dang, questionable. Alex Caruso, questionable. Meanwhile, the Spurs, basically a clean injury report except for Wemby in there. So, look, the Thunder are not going to lose just 3 games all year. This kind of feels like a tough spot for them here off the back-to-back, and the Spurs at home, you know it. I'm on the Spurs in this one to win again. It is revenge, obviously, here for the Thunder, but maybe the situation, the opponent just a little too good, it feels like. Hello to Timmy Two Shoe in the chat. Nice to see you tonight. Thunder wants their revenge, says Andre. Greg says quick revenge, but he likes the Spurs in this one. Maybe right on the number. He leans to the over. Renee says Thunder to cover and under. All right. I'm going to take the Spurs to get it done again. Remember, the Thunder can get their revenge and still win this game, and the Spurs can still cover, and the Spurs are pretty good cover at home so far this season. OKC just 7-7 on the road against the spread. Here's the Grizzlies taking on the Jazz. Memphis coming in here 13-16. They've actually lost 2 straight. Utah's lost 3 straight here right now, coming in 10-18. The Jazz, though, much better cover this season. They're 12-4 against the spread at home. Both teams played last night. Memphis was on the road, as we just said, at OKC. Got blown out there in the end. They were hanging in there for a little bit in that game. Got outscored 35-30 in the fourth quarter there. They were almost covering, but Utah 12-4 against the spread at home, although just 13-11 against the spread as an underdog. That may, they're basically not a much better favorite, if you know what I mean, at home, but they are a dog here a little bit to Memphis. Memphis is 8-4 against the spread as a favorite, 7-8 against the spread on the road. The two teams met just 2 weeks ago or 11 days ago. Memphis won, Utah won on the road, 130-126 as a 7.5 point dog. Memphis is a strong under this season, going 4-11 to the under on the road, but Utah not only 12-4 against the spread at home, but 12-4 to the over at home as well. Let's see what you got here with the Grizzlies and the Jazz in this one. For Memphis here, they've gone over in 15 of the last 20 meetings between these two teams. It went over in that first meeting, even though it was 243, just like it is here. 256 points were scored in that game. And like I said, Utah is a big time over at home, but Memphis, their scoring is suppressed on the road, almost an opposite record, 4-11 to the under on the road. But again, the series is right. So you have Memphis, yes, hardcore under on the road, hardcore under this season. Utah, hardcore over on the road. Series history, 15 of the last 20 meetings over, including 3 straight meetings and the one this year. So maybe that could tilt the scales for you a little bit. Utah's 4-1 against the spread here in their last 5. Memphis has struggled covering in this matchup. Let's go to the chat all-stars in this one. Good one here. Sneaky good. Let's just say. I mean, these teams are obviously under 500, but closely rated game here tonight. Ja is questionable. Vince Williams questionable. Brandon Clark is still out. Mr. Wesker's favorite, Kevin Love, he's questionable for this one. All right, here we go with some picks. The Jazz for Andre. And, oops, the total's wrong there, huh? It's a college game maybe, huh? Don't be a smart, but we know it's 243. First time watching the show, Greg? All right. Andre did like the Jazz plus the points. Timmy says Grizz Jazz over. Timmy says he's got a double overtime, 180-172. That's awesome. That's awesome, Timmy. I'm going to bet on the overtime just because of that. Greg here likes, Greg likes Utah to win this one. Wrong team favored, Greg says. And think that's it from you guys in the chat here in this one, right? Hey, I gotta go over. It's going. I already heard it's going overtime, 180 to 172. Give me the over in this one with Memphis and Utah. Lakers, Suns, NBA action here for Tuesday night. Lakers coming in here 19-8. Phoenix still doing a good job, 15-13. They've dropped 3 of their last 4, however, including 116 loss to Golden State on the road, but they did get the money. They were playing a home and home against Golden State, and they covered both of them. They won the first one, 99-98 at home. These two teams just met back on December 14th, 116-114. The Lakers got the win as an underdog. Lakers, though, did lose to the Clippers in that game where they basically just took the game off. It felt like I was just totally wrong. Should have saw it coming. The odds makers were totally right in that game that the Clippers ended up, beating up on the Lakers for sure. But Phoenix here, 8-2 against the spread as a favorite. You might be wondering why the Suns are such a big favorite here, but this one will be missing Luka Doncic. He is out of this game with a leg contusion. So Austin Reeves upgraded here a little bit to questionable. They need him here, but doesn't feel like it's a great situation given the point spread. Hachimura is out of this game. Ayton is probable for the Lakers. Gabe Vincent still out. Grayson Allen is doubtful for the Suns here in this one. But again, whenever I don't know. I think just like the Clipper game, maybe I should wise up to it a little bit and just say, hey, if the Suns are favored here by 5.5, they're 8-2 against the spread as a favorite. Lakers, for their successes, and they are, 15-12 against the spread, 19-8 record, but they are 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 here overall. 10-6 against the spread on the road, 8-4 against the spread as an underdog. But Phoenix has actually held pretty good in this matchup. Under in 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two teams. Although the one over was the other game this season, 125-108. Phoenix won at LA. So Suns are 14-6 against the spread. Their last 20 against the Lakers, although somewhat unreliable at the window if they don't win, but still good numbers as a favorite right now. Suns are 3-7 to the under as a favorite, 4-10 to the under at home. Lakers 9-3 to the over as an underdog here. Let's go to the chat, man, and see what you got. I'm taking the Suns minus 5.5 in this one. Greg likes the Suns as well. Mr. Wesker's on the Suns. Yeah, it just keeps getting worse for Allen. It looked like he was approaching returning, but had a little setback, I think. Lakers are a pathetic joke, says Mr. Weskers. The Lakers are 19-8 this year, one of the better records in the league so far this season, probably exceeding expectations, although their spread record wouldn't show that. They are a little bit overrated for sure. But again, a strong winning record. So I don't know what Mr. Weskers, he might not be watching many games. Brooks 3 threes for Timmy Tushu. Renee likes the Suns here, and Greg says the sun will shine forever. Yeah, I'm going to call you out on that, Greg. I think eventually that big orange star is going to explode and fizzle into. It's going to swallow up the It's going to swallow up our universe and then disintegrate into a tiny little ash or a big ash. Mr. Westers is watching the games. All right. Maybe the Lakers are pathetic. They'll probably go on and lose the rest of their games this season. Right now, they're 19-8. All right. All right. For me in this one, I'm taking the Phoenix Suns. Mr. Westers convinced me. Take the Suns minus the points. All right. Here we go. You're right, Mr. Weskers. Here we go. Next one up. Here's the Magic taking on the Blazers here tonight. How about the Madge, huh? All the way back here, 16 and 13. They actually lost 3 of their last 4. Portland's won 3 of their last 4. They're 12 and 17. Man, they really came back. I thought they were going to come back. I guess I was so enamored by their comeback last night. I figured they'd cover the spread, but they did not in the loss at home to Detroit, 110 to 102. Portland still 13 and 5 against the spread as an underdog. The Magic haven't been a good cover. They are 8 and 12 against the spread as a favorite, 2 and 8 against the spread in their last 10, despite the fact that they are 13 and 7 straight up as a favorite. Usually they don't cover, but they're only favored by 2 here. These two teams are a combined 34 and 24 to the over. Portland's 8 and 4 to the over on the at home, and Orlando's 9 and 5 to the over at home. So these two teams kind of going over here. They've already met in their first game of the season. Orlando won at home, 115 to 112. They actually got the money in that one. They were favored by just 2.5. This total here, though, has been dipping a little bit. I'm showing maybe it's down to 233 in a few spots. Definitely moving lower here, despite, to me, what looks like, I don't know, it feels like more of a high-scoring game, if you ask me. The first meeting did go under, though. It went to 227, and the total was 234.5 in that one. For the Magic here, you got Franz Wagner, he's out of this game. De Silva questionable. Suggs questionable. For Portland here, Jeremy Grant is questionable as well. We can go to the chat and see what you guys think here in this one with Orlando on the road here. Taking on Portland. The under is 5 straight meetings between these two teams have gone under, like I said, including that last meeting. Orlando is just 1 and 8 right now against the spread in their last 9 games. The only cover was a win at home against Miami. Other than that, they are kind of in a rugged spot here if they're going to lay points on the road. Sure, they've won a couple of games here. They beat Utah on the road. This is the 4th game of the road trip, but again, got blown out by Golden State last night. Golden State was just having fun. Portland, meanwhile, like I said, they were did get the win and the cover at home here last night. So both teams playing here. I got to take Portland. We got to take Portland here, gang, right? I got to take Portland. I think, given the team's trends to the over, maybe it will go over. I'm not worried about the series history, 5 straight unders when two teams meet just twice a year. Could be a tiebreaker if you're trying to force some action. But I'm going to take the Blazers here to win this one after dropping the game there last night. Mr. Wesker can't figure out this Magic club. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. Here's a club that, they are winning games here this year. Maybe they're not quite living up to expectations. They win when they're favored for the most part, but they just don't cover spreads. Here again, though, they're maybe just favored by 2. Maybe that'll help them out. Here's Timmy Tushu on the under. Renee says the Blazers will win this one. I agree with Renee. Greg here, he says take the Magic here in this one in the under. Timmy Tushu says tired legs, right, for both teams. Andre's got the Magic, and Greg says no way is Portland going to win tonight. That's so interesting. I mean, you have Greg says it's a 3-point game, and he says no way is Portland going to win. All it's going to take is a 3-pointer to tie the game. Usually if a team doesn't have any chance to win, you'd think you'd predict. I know those are your numbers, Greg, and not your predictions pretty much. All right. Greg says after that game, take the Magic last night. Yeah, they were pretty much lifeless there in the end. Maybe they were already looking ahead, knowing that they had lost that game to Golden State there. Good point, Greg. We're down to our final 2 games of this massive card. It's only taken an hour to get this off here. How about Detroit on the road to Sacramento? So we just kind of intertwine these teams here on the West Coast a little bit, just playing each other, then move into the next sight here. Detroit, like we said, off that win over Portland and covered. They've been pretty hot here, Detroit, of course. One of the better teams in the league here, coming in with a record of 23-6 right now. Incredible that they've been so good, and not only good, but good against the spread. Not great, but good. 17-12 against the spread overall, just 12-11 as a favorite. But the Kings, they're the biggest joke in the league. They 7-22 straight up, 10-19 against the spread. Not only, I mean, they can't win, they can't cover. Flat out been a big joke here so far this season, the Queens. But they did get the win the other night in that upset against Houston at home, 125-124. They stunned them as a 12.5-point favorite to stop that losing streak. They had gotten swept in that home and home against Portland. Here they've been playing some tough teams, and doesn't get any easier than this time with Detroit coming in, huh? Detroit is 5-9 to the under on the road. Sacramento is 11-15 to the under as a dog. Detroit still covered 4 of their last 5. Their only non-cover was that loss to Dallas, 116-114 as a 5.5-point favorite. However, like we said, Sacramento just dismal at home here against the spread. How can they be trusted here, even as a dog? It feels like both teams are kind of showing strong to the under, as I said, and they have not met yet here this season. So let's see what you got in the chat, gang. Kings are suddenly sunny gray. Kings beat Houston. They're going to lose to Detroit, says Greg. Renee likes the Pistons to cover. And Timmy says somebody's waiting here for these tired squads. I mean, you mean Sacramento, because Sacramento, although you got to admit, I mean, they lit the beam against Houston, and you got to wonder how much of a high that was for a team that's been pretty bad. And Andre said it, the Kings have been pretty bad here this season. But like I said, Detroit did get that win there. Let me go under in this one with Detroit and Sacktown. Under for me. We've made it to the final game of the card here with Houston on the road taking on the Clippers. The Clippers have won 1 in a row with that win over the Lakers the other night, snapping their losing streak. Houston, meanwhile, they were coming off that big win over Denver. They were the team on the back-to-back when they lost to Sacramento. So even a great team like Houston can fall victim to that back-to-back scenario. Houston is 16-11, 15-11 against the spread, 10-6 against the spread on the road. The Clippers, meanwhile, we know how bad they've been, but at home they're especially bad. 2-10 against the spread, although they are 7-8 against the spread as an underdog. They're almost a 50-50 proposition, and Houston just 13-11 against the spread as a favorite. So maybe the Clippers can hang in here, huh? Clippers, though, have lost or failed to cover anyway in 6 of the last 8 meetings against the Rockets. And Clippers have failed to cover here in 4 of their last 8 overall, but they've covered in 3 of their last 5. The head-to-heads between these two kind of point to the over here. They've gone over right now in pretty much every game the last 2 seasons in the series here right now. And both teams are kind of in their scenarios to go over. Houston's 15-9 to the over as a favorite. The Clippers are 9-6 to the over as an underdog here. Yeah, I think Houston can clobber the Clippers here, though, don't you? 2 teams met just 2 weeks ago. Houston won it 115-113 here in LA, but did not cover the spread. They were laying 8.5 on that day. So can the Clippers get going here and maybe get another cover against these guys? I'm going to go over here with the Rockets and the Clippers. Give me the over. on Tuesday night. Go to the chat, see what you have, and then we'll move on to the next one. Let's see what we got here. Hi, Mr. DJC in the chat. Nice to have you here. I try to come on before 3 a.m. Eastern and midnight Pacific time. That's the time we list anyway on the or that's what time we like to get on there by. I try to come on a little earlier.
Major line move.
Boy, I'm seeing a big line move here right now here in the middle of the night. Both my services are saying that the total in the Chicago-Atlanta game is on the move here a little bit to the under. Could there be some personnel-related issues here, or is it just the sharps playing the numbers? I just mentioned, right, that I was willing to go over 254. Right now, we're seeing this game move here right now on night moves here at basically 4:40 in the morning Eastern time and 1:40 here in Las Vegas. This total, check your lines. I mean, this one is dropping rapidly here right now to 252, maybe even 251 and a half right here. A massive drop on the total in that other game, kind of ruining the broadcast here on the late game. I'm not really supposed to do that, but I just had to note that big move right now coming in on that one. We're also seeing another big move here come in on the under in the Bucks and the Pacers game. So definitely take note of some of these moves here right now. All right, let me get to it here with you guys. Apologies here real quick. All right, here we go. Sorry about that, gang. Having a little bit of technical difficulties, what it is. Okay, here we go. With the Rockets and the Clippers. Mr. Wesker says the Rockets' issue is they play better defense. Or let's see. Oh, Mr. Weskers plays better defense than the Rockets. Kevin Durant is a pylon out there. Udoka doesn't do a good job emphasizing defense. Greg here says he likes the Rockets to roll in this one, and he leans to the under. All right. Harden's 4 threes here, says Timmy Tushu. He's mad about that Kings game. Mr. Wesker says, yeah, if Harden gets out there, it'll probably be a late scratch. Let's see here. All right, I guess that's going to do it. For injuries in this game, we really just have a couple here. Zubats, he's out of this one. That's big news. And Niederhauser still out, man. Everybody's favorite, Yannick Conan Niederhauser, here questionable in this game. I'll take the over, though, with the Rockets and the Clippers. That's it for the NBA. What a great segment. Thanks, everybody. Awesome job by the chat all-stars. We've got 5 dozen of you here watching here in the middle of the night on Night Moves. I'm your host, Ramon Scott of Tony'sPicks.com. Hey, you can check us out over at Tony's Picks and check out our best bets from our team of handicappers. Head on over to Tony'sPicks.com and check out the handicapper leaderboards and see who's hot. Check it out right now while we're here on the show in between segments and see who had a great night on Monday night. Alessandro Vegas Al came through with a nice night here. 4-1 for Vegas Al. His show precedes mine here every night. He's doing a great job there with the Tony's Picks Look Ahead show. Also, Solo 3-1 and Rod with 4 wins there. Great job by the crew. Over the last week, you got Mr. Higgs basically coming in at 70%. Al Nino's doing a great job as well there. Solo holding his own over the last 7 days. Last 30 days, how about Justin McKelvey? Stacks up 10 units over the last 30 days. Great job by Justin. And DeAndre's there, 12 and 3/4 units since he joined the site. Great job, DeAndre. Check out our picks over at Tony'sPicks.com. You can click on the All Cappers tab, scroll down, find the handicapper of your choice, click on their handicapper profile page, and that's how you get signed up. Check me out over at Tony'sPicks.com. I've had some finished up 30 units in the MLB, and I did have a winner in college football yesterday here on the site. And over the last 30 days, up nearly 5 units in college football, staying afloat here of soccer and NBA this week. Check me out over at Tony'sPicks.com. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout. That'll save you 15% off all premium pick packages, including mine here on Tuesday. Have a little bit of action in college basketball, but we'll be loaded up for sure here with some plays in the NBA and NHL on Tuesday night with this big card. I've avoided some premiums here this season. I've been focusing on my props and college basketball, but pretty big schedule. Probably going to come in with some plays here in the premium side on Tuesday night. Thanks a lot for listening. Let's continue on here with our segment here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel, the 50,000 subscriber juggernaut. We're going to go next to some college basketball. You better believe it. And someone was talking FAU basketball earlier tonight. That just happens to be our first game to preview here. There is some early starts. I'm passing on them here on the show, get a little shelf life out of these videos. But yeah, we do have some early starts, a couple of noon starts here tomorrow as well with Binghamton and Army, Green Bay and Campbell. Also, Bellarmine, DeAndre's favorite, taking on Kentucky. But let's go here with FAU. They're taking on Central Florida, an all-Florida battle here on Tuesday. This one's at 2 Eastern and 11 Pacific. We've got plenty of daytime action here. FAU coming in 8-4. UCF coming in here 10-1 in this one. This one's at the State Farm Field House here between these two. And let's take a look at these two teams. I mean, Central Florida here. Florida Atlantic, I mentioned the 8-4, but they've actually lost 3 of their last 5. They come in off of a loss on the road to St. Mary's, but they did get the cover. They've covered 3 straight. They also beat Florida Gulf Coast, and they rocked Albany by 30 points as a 15-point favorite. Meanwhile, for UCF, they're definitely on a roll here right now. Winning and covering 3 straight over Gulf Coast, over Mercer, over Towson. They failed to cover in a win against BMI, but only by a half a point as a 25.5-point favorite. They also beat Quinnipiac by only 9 as a 13.5-point favorite. FAU is actually 7-3 against the spread. UCF just 6-5 against the spread. So Green Bay's FAU actually been the slightly better team spread-wise. FAU also 3-1 to the over away from home here. Let's go to the chat in this one. These two teams did meet last year. UCF won it 100-94 as a 4.5-point favorite. They got the money. It was expected to be a high-scoring game in that one last year with a total of 155, and here we're looking at 159.5. It's actually gone down here a little bit from a high opener of 162.5. 164.5 was the opening number at offshore book here in this game between Florida Atlantic and Central Florida. So let me hear from you in the chat. You're playing a little college basketball with me here. Again, this is a neutral site game technically here in this one, but let me hear from you in the chat and make your pick with me here between Florida Atlantic and Central Florida. Central Florida stronger of late, like I said, against the spread with those 3 straight covers and they have done well in this series. Actually, it goes back too long. I would only look at that game maybe from last year. Despite Central Florida's under trend, like I said, that game did go way over last year. So let's see what you have with this one. Central Florida and Florida Atlantic here. All right. Mr. Weskers, don't remind me. We're not even close to being done here on Night Moves. We got the huge NHL card still to come. Moments away, 13 games on the ice. Get ready. All right, Mr. Wesker's going to go to the Magic 8 ball here. You know me, I'll use the money line dice if I need to make a pick. You got spread, away, over, under there. Maybe I can roll the dice a little bit if we need a desperation pick and I can't get one out. Okay, here we go. Greg here says he likes Central Florida in this one and the over. Hey, I want to say hello to Haiti Way. I'm sure it's got to be Haiti Way, right? It looks like the word Haiti in there with way. And thank you, Haiti Way. Nice to see you. I think Andre likes Florida Atlantic and the points and the over. And Greg says, I'm going to take UCF and lay it here. Mr. Wesker says, this game is going to stay close. All right. Mr. Wesker. All right. And Timmy Chushu. Hey, we're going to good. Thank you, Timmy Chushu, with that pick there in the chat on the Kentucky game. I'm going under here in this one with Florida Atlantic and Central Florida. Give me the under here with this matchup. How about Riverside taking on UCLA? A big number here. Riverside coming in 6-7. UCLA comes in here right now 9-3. Bruins have won 2 straight coming in with wins over Cal Poly and ASU. They didn't cover against Cal Poly, laying 24.5, and well, maybe could compare it to this game. Riverside 6-2 against the spread as an underdog. UCLA is just 5-7 against the spread overall. UCLA 3-6 to the under at home so far this season, although Riverside is 7-4 to the over so far. Still big number here between these two, with Riverside coming in to take on the Bruins at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. Riverside's covered 6 of their last 7 actually coming in. Maybe 5 of their last 7. One was a borderline cover game. They did lose to BYU by 47 points a couple of nights ago. The Riverside also lost at St. Thomas on the road. They covered, though, getting 14.5 in a 14-point loss. Both teams are kind of on over runs here or a little bit of over action here of late. UCLA has gone over in 3 straight. Teams met 2 years ago. It was 66-65. UCLA won at home. Maybe a little different product back then for UCLA, although, it hasn't been totally dreadful, but that Cal Poly, that Riverside team, that was I'll just say it was interesting to say the least. All right, let's see what you guys have though here in the chat in this one between the Bruins. I just picked kind of spaced it out a little bit so we can get some afternoon action, and you can't ignore the fact that the Bruins here taking on another UC school. So I've got the under in this one at 151. Give me the under with Riverside and UCLA here in this one. Like I said, UCLA 3-6 to the under at home. And in comparison, right? So it did go over there in that last game with Cal Poly, way over. 108 to 87, but Cal Poly has turned to, they used to be a slow team. Now they're a fast team. All right, here we go with UCLA for Mr. Weskers. Andre says UCLA. And yeah, you're right, Mr. Weskers. Man, they're going to have 4 inches of rain in LA. They even postponed the Santa Anita opening day. That rare. That was, don't expect that. Greg here. Oh, he likes Riverside. Timmy's going to take Riverside as well. I'll take the under. All right, I got one more here. We got to get to hockey, but I got Villanova taking on Seton Hall. This is the game of the day in college basketball by far. You got Villanova coming in here into this one, 9-2. The Hall is 11-1 on a big winning streak here. Villanova's won 2 in a row following a loss, that big loss to Michigan, but Villanova 3-1 against the spread on the road, 8-3 against the spread overall. Seton Hall 8-4 against the spread overall, but just 3-4 against the spread at home. So Villanova gets the money on the road. The Hall doesn't get the money at home, but Seton Hall is 7-0 straight up at home this season, and Villanova's 1-2 straight up as an underdog so far this year. The two teams met in the postseason here in the conference tournament last year, 67-65. Villanova got that win. They also won 2 regular season meetings, 79-67 and 59-54, going 2-1 against the spread. Seton Hall covered at home as an underdog last year. Now they're favored this time around. They were getting 8 from last year's Villanova team. Villanova's pretty hot right now with this winning streak, and Villanova, like I said, they've kind of dominated this series, and they continue to cover. Like I said, it just was that one game last year, pretty much, that they didn't. Recent meetings between the two have been very low totals and always seem to find a way to go over, although the game at Seton Hall last year wasn't under, just 59-54. Villanova got that win. Like I said, that's the one that Seton Hall was able to cover as an underdog. This one's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. It's the last college game of the day. I've got the over in this one. Give me over 132, Villanova and Seton Hall. All totals for me on the show here, Night Moves. Thank you, everyone. That's it for the college basketball. Got 5 dozen of you here ready to go with the hockey. But first, Seton Hall for Mr. Weskers. Greg thinks the wrong team's favored. And Andre says Seton Hall wins, but doesn't cover. He's got this one basically a 1-point, 2-point game, and he likes it under. Uh-oh. All right, fam, we're going to go now to a massive hockey card. If you like hockey, this segment's for you. And then they'll take some time off, I believe, as well. Let's get to this hockey card. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas here. Like I said, I'll be here on Christmas morning, 3 a.m. Eastern, midnight Pacific or so, a little before that here. So spend your early, wrap those gifts for the little ones and listen to me here when you put the kids down and Santa's ready to roll in. That's when you're going to want to listen to me here on the show. All right. Let's get it rolling with this card here in the NHL. Hello to Jamal Giuseppe. He's ready to go here with our NHL card tonight. Hey, we did come through with a few winners last night here on Night Moves. We had the under in the Blues and the Lightning game. And we also had here, I think we had one other winner. It was the Columbus Blue Jackets on the road. All right. The Pittsburgh Penguins and Toronto Maple Leafs, 2 teams kind of struggling to find wins here right now, although Pittsburgh did win last time out over Montreal 4-3, but they've been struggling here. Even that was a bit of a struggle. They were in revenge at home in that one after a 4-0 loss at Montreal. They came back to get the win 4-3, but it wasn't easy. That's for sure. Toronto, meanwhile, they've lost 3 straight. They're not playing very well either here of late. Although Toronto is 10-5 at home this season. Pittsburgh, though, they play their best hockey on the road. They're 8-5 on the road here this season, just 9-13 as an underdog. But Toronto's not a good favorite. They're actually 9-10 as a favorite. That ain't going to get it done. Let's see here. Yeah, $1.35. Man, this one's it seems like maybe the move has been on uh, uh, Pittsburgh here for the most part coming in, but let's see what you have here with these two. You got a Toronto team that's 12-8 to the over at home, but Pittsburgh's 7-10 to the over on the road. However, Pittsburgh 13-9 to the over as an underdog, and Toronto is 13-6 to the over as a favorite. That always catches my interest when I see those type of trends. Pittsburgh's lost 8 of their last 9. They've also lost 6 of the last 7 meetings to Toronto here. The two teams have met already twice this season. Toronto won 7-2, and that was on the road, and they won 4-3 at home. So Toronto does dominate the series for sure. Look, this total here, is it 6/25, 6/20 there? All right. I'll take the Leafs here in this one at home over Pittsburgh. Like I said, I think that the series dominance, I think, for me, is what's going to put me over the top here in this one. But I don't know. The series has gone over in 4 of the last 5. We'll see. We'll see about that. Like I said, this type of situation maybe favors the over here. So let me just take Toronto since I seem confused on the total. All right. Greg likes Pittsburgh to win. Hello to Stop Geo in the chat. Jamal's here. He's got the under in this one. And Andre says Leafs and over here in this one. Yeah, Toronto's been an over team for the most part, like I said, as a favorite at home and overall. So, all right. And Timmy Fading Skinner here likes a team total over. And Timothy Hawk is here today. We're in the hockey. Timothy's here. You know it. He likes the Leafs with me. Stars and Red Wings, good game here in Detroit. Stars 25-7-5. The Wings are 21-13-3. Stars favored on the road, 4-game winning streak over LA, San Jose, Anaheim, and over Toronto last time out. They have outscored their opposition here 22-8 over the last 4 games. Covering the puck line every time right now as Dallas continues to roll here. Like I said, they are a slight favorite in this one. The total is kind of going down here, man. 5.5. I think it's even shaded to the under here in this one. No. In fact, some books have it at 6. Wow, really? In this matchup? Okay. Maybe those sharps don't want to get involved with a little 5.5 action there. I don't know. But both teams really in good form. I don't mean to slight Detroit right now. They've won 2 straight, sweeping Washington in a home and home. They did lose to Utah, but did have a couple of wins before that over Chicago and New York. Detroit is right now 11-7 at home, 9-8 as an underdog here. This series has been all Dallas, but Detroit won the last one last year. These two teams have not met yet here this season. Dallas is 8-1 straight up in the last 9 games against Detroit. That last win came back in April. Detroit won it here, and Dallas obviously on a roll. Not only the 4 in a row, but they've won 8 of their last 10. The overs hit in 5 of the last 6 meetings here between these two teams. Oh, that's kind of the way I might have been looking here a little bit. Detroit is 10-7 to the over as a dog, although Dallas is 12-7 to the under as a favorite here. Man, looks like the Sharps are on the under here. I'm just going to take Dallas on the road to win again. They dominate Detroit. I think they'll do it again. I'm going to need to investigate that total a little bit. I don't know. I think if it's 5.5, I'm going over. If it's 6, I might go under. I know that it might even be the same line if you're talking about 5.5 over 26 under 20, but I'm going to see how the line moves a little bit. To me, the move has come in here on the under right now. Looks like the Sharps are on the under. So, all right, let me just take Dallas here to keep this roll going against Detroit. Your comments are in this game, and we've got the stars for Mr. Weskers. And Andre says stars and under. Greg likes Dallas to rock here. Mr. Wesker says the Stars going to win it all. Timmy says the Red Wings are hot. Not as hot as the Dallas Stars, though, right? And let's see here. Mr. Weskers loved these two teams as a kid. That's great. Oh, man. And Mr. Weskers loved Chelios, my man from Mira Mesa High School, Mr. Weskers. Timothy Hawk, he's on the Stars. I want to say hello to Lando. Lando, man, great to see you here in the middle of the night. Awesome, Lando. Awesome. He says 9 of the Wings' last 10 home games following in overtime have gone over. Oh, my goodness. No wonder I kind of was leaning over. I'm just afraid of what the Sharps moving this line lower. Lando, great to see you, my friend. All right, let's see here. Timmy says of those Detroit teams, they brought in the cup. I think he said brought in a cup. Oh, how about DeBrincat for an anytime goal? I'll leave it at that. All right, I'll take the Stars, I guess, here. Yeah. All right, Rangers and Caps here. Rangers on the road. You know what that means? Rangers are 18, 16, and 4. The Caps are 19, 12, and 5. Rangers have won 2 of their last 3 games coming in. Washington, meanwhile, a 2-game losing streak right now. Washington lost back-to-back games to Detroit here. Not playing too great. They played well in that game against Detroit, but ended up losing the game there, I believe, in overtime. Yep, in overtime in that one. For the Rangers here, they did lose to Nashville on the road, so maybe that little streak is kind of evening itself out. But before that, they beat St. Louis, they beat Philadelphia, although they were close games. The Rangers still hold a 13-6 record on the road. Washington 11-6 at home. Washington's 15-9 as a favorite this season. You know, we got, when you're talking Rangers hockey here, 13-25 to the under. Nearly 2/3 of their games have gone under, but usually it's at home where they go under the most. On the road, they're just 9-11 to the under. But they are taking on a Washington team 8-11 to the under at home here. So maybe you can weigh it out and decide for yourself a little bit on those trends kind of with this matchup. But still, the Rangers here, both teams trending under with also, I believe, 9 of the last 12 meetings between the two teams have gone under. Washington is 14-5 at home against the Rangers, but still $1.65 when we're supposed to be looking at these Ranger games on the road here. I don't think I can get away from it. Even with this game on the road here, probably look to the Rangers here, but let me take the under in this one. This has to be a hardcore under, I think, and I will take it here. Thompson looks to be in there, so we'll see on the starting goalies here for Tuesday, but I'm going to take the under in this one. Get your comments here in the chat and see what you got with Greg liking it 3-2 Rangers here. And Timmy says Chetrin with a goal. Andre says Rangers on the puck line. He'll pay the price to get the goal and a half. Capitals will bounce back from those 2 games against the Wings here. Lando's got that regulation draw. Timothy likes the under here. And he also says the Capitals will smack these guys, take the Caps in regulation. Yeah, Caps have won 4 straight. Teams met back in August. It was 1-0. Capitals won. Lando says Capitals' last 9 home games against the Metro Division have gone under. Okay, that's good enough for me. Give me the under here in this one. Panthers and Hurricanes here in this one. Hey, it's easy to get these confused, right? Because you might want to say Carolina Hurricanes. You might want to say Carolina Panthers. The Florida Panthers on the road here. 19-14-2. Carolina 22-10-3. But Carolina's lost a couple in a row here to Florida and Tampa. That Florida game was at Florida. 4-3 they lost, but they're back at home now to get a little revenge, maybe. Florida, meanwhile, after they beat Carolina, lost at home to St. Louis. Hey, we had St. Louis in that one, in that 6-2 victory. Carolina here about $1.45 or so. Total is 6. Florida comes in here 5-2, straight up as an underdog this season, but Carolina's pretty much favored in every game. I think they've been an underdog 4 times so far this year. So these 2 teams, Florida's won the last 4 meetings, including just 4 nights ago, as I mentioned, in that 4-3 game. So what do you think here with Florida and Carolina here on Tuesday night? Florida, like I said, 4 straight, 5 of the last 6 games they've beaten Carolina here right now. And Florida's pretty strong on the road. Like I said, here as an underdog, good as an underdog here. Carolina's gone under in 6 of their last 7, for 5 of their last 7, I think, at home. Although, let me see. 6 of their last 7 at home. They've been going under here of late, more unders here of late. They were an over team for sure for a while there, but they're starting to go under here at home of late. Let's see what you got here. I think it's going to be, let me see what the goalie situation is. I think it's going to be Bussy here, though, actually, and not Freddie Anderson. I think I'm seeing a current update here a little bit. There we go. I think it's going to be Bussy right now. We'll see. I'm going to change it, though, there. And you guys can make the picks. But the other thing is, if it is Bussy, it should be noted here, right? I'm not sure right now. I'm looking to see which goalies here are confirmed. But Bussy has had an incredible record here so far this season, quite frankly, off the charts. I think he's now, is he 11-2, 10-2, 10-1? Something like that. I can't look it up here right now. We're doing the middle of the show, but he's been nearly unbeatable at home, actually, so far. So I think it will be Bussy in there, and maybe that will be of a big benefit here to the Hurricanes to try to stop this streak by them against the Panthers. Let's get your picks here in this one. Here we go with the chat. Timothy Hawk likes the Hurricanes. Mr. Wesker says the Panthers are the champs. Indeed, they are. Hurricanes puck line and regulation here. They get the bounce back after blowing it last time out against Florida, says Lando. Timmy likes Bennett for an anytime goal. Jamal likes the Hurricanes here as well. You guys are on these Hurricanes here big time. I might have to go with you guys in the chat if you guys like them here that much, man. Look, I'm on Florida. I've got a futures ticket on Florida. I'm figuring that, yeah, I know they have some long-term injuries here. And Greg says take the Panthers. Greg's usually a revenge guy, but he says Florida this time. And look, I'm not in love with the price, but I'm going to agree with you guys. Even at $1.50 or so, I'm going to take the Hurricanes in this one. Listen to the chat all-stars, and I will. Mr. Wesker said the Hurricanes, yeah, they had their opportunity last year. But hey, they're making the most of it right now. They're definitely got a great record here currently. The Devils are on the road taking on the Islanders here. Good one here with the Devils 20-15-1. The Isles are 19-13-4 coming into this one. You got an Islanders team here, 14-9. Oops, where's the line? Can't talk about the Islanders being an underdog if you don't list the price. Got $1.25 here, 6 under 15.
Steam play.
Looks like the producer was asleep there. All right, there you go. So the Islanders are 14-9 as an underdog so far this season, 10-7 at home this season. Devils just 10-10 as a favorite here this season. These two teams met in November. The Islanders won it on the road, 3-2. Could consider it revenge, or maybe the Islanders just got their number a little bit. Now, these two teams do trend a little bit under for sure. The Islanders are 8-15 to the under as a dog, and the Devils are 8-12 to the under as a favorite. These two teams definitely having some unders for sure. Both teams are on strong under runs, and 4 of the last 6 meetings between these two teams have gone under. Islanders here at home actually have been winning several games here of late, and are they had won. I think they'd won 5 straight at home before they lost that game to Vancouver. I'd have to look that. I'd have to check it out. But head to head here, though, they are kind of a 50-50 split, despite the fact that the Islanders won the last one. Last season, it was the Devils that actually had kind of won the season series, I believe. So in this one here with the Islanders at home, let me hear from you guys first. Then I'll make my pick in this one. With the Devils taking on the Isles here tonight. I think it's Markstrom and Rittich. That's who I've got listed here anyway. Here we go. Mr. Weskers likes the Devils in this one. And Andre likes the Isles. Greg says Devils. Orlando's leaning to the Devils too. Oh, he says that the Islanders are basically on the no bet list. Andre likes the under here. Yeah, I'm thinking the same kind of. All right, I'm going to take the under in this one. I was kind of thinking the Isles, but hey, you guys like the Devils. I'm not going to go against the chat here. Here, maybe I'll make the call, but all right. And Timmy Chushu with a prop goal pick here in this one. Hey, we're doing good here. We're knocking a few of these out, and we got more to come. Want to say hello to Andrew K in the chat. Really nice to see Andrew K here. He doesn't know that this is a sports betting pick. He does. Andrew K is our friend, but he's a little off. He might be in the wrong chat. All right, here we go. Next up. Sabres here taking on the Senators in this one. Man, you got Buffalo, you've got Ottawa, and you've got 2 hot teams here. Wow. Sabres on fire. They're catching the league by storm here right now. They beat New Jersey. They beat the Islanders. They beat Philly. Remember, they swept the Pacific Northwest. They're as hot as they can be here right now, are the Buffalo Sabres, which is great after that really bad start. They were almost back at they are 17-14-4. Ottawa, meanwhile, has won 4 straight. They're 18-13-4 with wins over Winnipeg, Pittsburgh, Chicago, and Boston. How about Ottawa? They're playing great as well right now. Tough game, actually, considering how hot these teams are. Ottawa, $1.55 against this hot Buffalo team right now. I know they're probably a little bit better than Buffalo, and maybe Buffalo has been. And I think actually I've got Buffalo with Luukkonen I think Pekka Luukkonen. I'm going to change this here. I think Pekka Luukkonen's in there. So let me update that. That might be. I think if you look at it, I think that's probably a better situation, right, for Buffalo. Uh, Ottawa here. Look, they're not great. They putting the puck necessarily on net, but they're great on the uh, great killing those power plays, right? Here and let's see what you got though in this one. Ottawa 21-14 to the over, 15-10 to the over as a favorite, although Buffalo 8-12 to the under as a dog. Sabres have won 5 straight meetings between the two teams, and 6 of the last 8 meetings between these two teams here in Ottawa have gone under. The teams met once this season. It was 8-4. Buffalo, though, won at home. I'm going to take Buffalo again here. I'm taking Buffalo as a dog in this one. They're so hot. Ottawa's hot too, but I'm going to try Buffalo at this price. And now that I think Luukkonen is going to be in there, so give me Buffalo here on the road in this one. Let's see what we got here. Timmy Tushu likes the under, I think, here in this one. And look at Lando, though, says the underdogs have won 6 straight in this series. All right, I'm on Buffalo. Andrew, we only talk stocks and crypto here. Greg says Buffalo to keep rolling. Timmy says he thinks I'd be on the over here in this one. Yeah, I think I'm holding off just a little bit on this one, Timmy. I'm going to go with the side. Yeah. Andre says Sabres and under. And Orlando says you got Luukkonen in there. He's going on the over now. Yeah, I got you there. Look, Buffalo is 9-8. They've kind of trended over. It seems like here of late, but like I said, the series is an under series. So, all right, maybe it'll go overtime, says Greg. Let's go to another rivalry game now here with the Canadians on the road against the Bruins with the hot young rookie Fowler. I say hot young, maybe he's had some inconsistency here now that he's kind of settled in as the number one goalie for Montreal. I think that's certain here. But for Fowler right now, they'll turn to the 21-year-old comes in. Look, a 2.49 goals against, 91.5% save percentage, 2-1-1 record. I don't think anybody's too upset with that. And he did get the shutout over Pittsburgh last time out for Fowler. Montreal 19-12-5. They've won 2 of 3. Boston's lost 3 straight. They're 20-16-1 coming in. They lost to Edmonton, Vancouver, and Ottawa here all at home so far. Montreal, meanwhile, did lose at Pittsburgh after that Fowler shutout. They lost 4-3 when they went and played them the next time. It was in a shootout. Montreal, terrific on the road, 9-3 here, but Boston 12-7 at home, to be fair. And Montreal 13-6 to the over as an underdog, 10-6 to the over on the road. Boston slightly leans over as well. For the Habs here, they've lost 9 straight games at Boston right now. So one-sided series for sure when here, although Montreal did win the last time, or they won. Boston won here in won at Montreal 3-2 back in November. So just a one-sided series here right now, no matter how you look at it. Canadians have just not played well here. The road games for Montreal and Boston are more high scoring. I say the road games. The games in Boston are a little bit more high scoring when these two teams have met. And, quite frankly, you have two teams here that are big time over teams that are combined 43 and 30 to the over this season. So I'm going to take the over here in this one. That you got to respect that Boston home ice advantage against Montreal, though. 9 straight and basically a pick'em game here. Let's see what you got in the chat in this one. Here we go. Mr. Wesker says, take the Bruins. You got to fade those Canadian teams right now. And Bruins' last 6 games versus the Canadians after a home loss have gone under. So it's kind of interesting there, right? When you think about how the series history goes too, because the Bruins usually win those games. So could we see this one be, somewhere in the lines of 3-2, 3-1 Boston, 3-2 Boston for Greg, Boston and under for Andre, Boston team total over for Timmy. Timmy says that's it for Fowler. He'll be toast tonight. The Bruins were embarrassed at home in that game. I think he's talking about the game against Ottawa, or no, maybe just in general. They've lost these three straight games at home right now. They were underdogs in 2 of them, but they did lose to Vancouver as well as a favorite. So I'll take the over here. All right, Nick Saban's Nashville Predators taking on the Wild here in this one. I guess Gustafson maybe in goal here. I think for the Predators, I'm going to go with, I think it's Saros actually here. I'm seeing what I do is I usually combine the sites, and whoever's got the goalie picked on most of the sites, that's who I think the goalie is going to be. But here I'm seeing some changes right now. Saros going up against Gus. Big favorite here, of course, for Minnesota. Minnesota 22-10-5. Nashville's a 500 club right now, coming in at 15, 16-4, pretty much there. Minnesota had their winning streak snapped, another winning streak snapped last time out to Colorado. I had Minnesota in that game, or Minnesota's at home in that game, but I had Minnesota. I thought they were going to be able to beat Colorado, but you know what Colorado does what they want to do, it seems like. Nashville's won 2 in a row at home against Toronto and the Rangers here, now heading out here on the road. Nashville, a dismal underdog. 6-17 as a dog. Minnesota 13-4 at home this season. Nashville 10-13 to the under as a dog coming into this one. You do have a Wild team that has won 7 of their last 8, 5 of their last 6 at home. 11 of the last 15 meetings between these two teams have gone over. So, yeah, maybe the teams do trend to the under. They did just meet back here in November, or on November the 4th, and it was 4-1, or I'm sorry, 3-2 in favor of Minnesota in overtime in that one. But let's see what you have here with Nashville and Minnesota here in this one. Okay, it's going to be Andre's on the Wild. Greg is on the Wild here. Kaprizov here for Timmy. And Andrew K is not a believer in the blockchain. Timothy here likes the Wild. Lando says Predators first period in full game. Is that what he said? Let me see. And over here. The last 6 games following a win have gone over. So I think maybe he's saying over first period and over full game. Wild says they'll rip Nashville. Wild to rip Nashville says Timmy Two Shoes in this one. Okay. All right. Yeah, man, Minnesota sure does own this series, and Nashville can be up and down. Nashville 11-12 as a puck line underdog. That's not great, really, is it? If you think about it, Minnesota 8-11 is a puck line favorite. That's not awful. I'm going to take the Wild here on the puck line to roll this one. Give me Minnesota here to crush the Predators here. All right, next up. The Flames are taking on the Oilers here. Northwest. Talk about a rivalry battle here in this one, the Battle of Alberta with the Flames and the Oilers. Calgary 15, 17, and 4. Edmonton comes in 18, 13, and 6 right now. Calgary winners of 2 straight with wins over Seattle and VGK at home. And they head on up to Edmonton here. Edmonton coming in off a 4-3 win at home over Vegas. They've won 3 of their last 4. Both teams have won 3 of their last 4 right now. You got Edmonton here, 9-3 at home. We know Calgary on the road is not great, 6-12 straight up. This is kind of where they've struggled as road dogs here. They're definitely winners at home this season, but not so much on the road. Oilers are 11-4 in the last 15 meetings against Calgary. Both teams have kind of been going over recently, especially Edmonton's home games here. They're 11-4 to the over here at home. Calgary 14-6 to the over on the road, 17-10 to the over as a dog. I think I'm going to take the over in this one. I look, Edmonton's got pretty good handle on this series, although Calgary won I think it was the only meeting so far this season, 4-3 at Edmonton. I'm going to take the over in this one between these two for sure. These guys are hardcore overs right now, combining to go 45 and 28 to the over this season. Calgary's been going over here of late as well in 3 straight games. Go to the chat in this one, see if anybody likes this game here with the Flames taking on the Oilers. Oilers puck line for Andrew. Timmy says he's got McDavid for an anytime goal, first goal scorer, and to get 2 points. And Draisaitl will get 2 points as well. Saw McDavid get that goal there in that last one, huh? I'll take the over here with these two. We're almost home, gang. Flyers and Blackhawks here. 9:07 Eastern, 6:07 Pacific. Flyers favored on the road. They're 18-10-7. Chicago just 13-16-6 as the woes continue for the Blackhawks. They just lost 6-4 at Ottawa. They got blown out at Montreal. Lost at Toronto. They've been getting beat up pretty bad here right now and struggling. 2-7-1. In their last 10 games overall. Meanwhile, Philly here, 8-2 is a favorite this season. Here they are, favored a little modest price on the road against this struggling Blackhawks team. Blackhawks did win the last meeting here last March, 7-4, but first meeting of the season between these two teams. Flyers have won 9 of the last 13 meetings between these two teams, and the Hawks, like I said, with this 5-game losing streak. Chicago's gone under in 5 of their last 6 games overall. Philly's gone over in 9 of 15 on the road here, but I'm going to take the Flyers to keep it going here right now with Chicago's struggles. I'll take Philly on the road as a small favorite over the Blackhawks in this one. I think it's Urson and Knight. I know the Sharps are going to be on the Blackhawks here, but I don't think I can do it. Here we go with Timothy here is on the Flyers. Timothy Hawk. Timothy Two Shoes says, if the Hawks are on the losing streak, give me the Hawks here. Andre says, over and Philly on the puck line. Man, we're almost done. I'm having such a good time here in the middle of the night. We've got 6 dozen of you here watching. We've got almost 80 lives here watching live here with me on Night Moves. Thank you for joining me here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. Next up, the Mammoth are at the Avalanche here in this one. Vemelka and Wedgwood here. I believe these two will be the starters here in this one. You've got Utah coming in here, 18, 17, and 3. Colorado, they're just 26, 2, and 7. So we know how it's been going here for Colorado. What a run, huh? They're back to their winning ways, taking on all comers and covering puck lines too. Beat Minnesota 5-1 last time out. Yeah, they only won 3-2 against Winnipeg, but puck line wins over Seattle, Nashville, Florida. Colorado's 19 and 15 on the puck line. Utah 9 and 6 as a puck line underdog this season, but can you stomach the price here if you wanted to do it with these two? See what you got here in the chat in this one. Colorado 13 and 21 to the under as a favorite this season, although Utah 9 and 6 to the over as a dog. For the Mammoth here, they have gone under in 6 of the last 7 meetings between these two teams in Colorado. This franchise, anyway, that does date back to, I think, one series, 1 year there, some of the games when they were in Arizona. But man, the Avalanche right now, basically a 10-game winning streak at home, 5 straight wins overall right now. You willing to do it again here with Colorado? Just lay another puck line like it's nobody's business. Seem to do what they want. This series, actually, Utah has one of the 2 wins against they won 4-3 over Colorado in overtime this season at home. See what you got here in this one in the chat. With Timothy Hawk likes the Avalanche on the puck line here once again. And you look at the puck line here in this one, they are even money. I mean, why wouldn't you just try it, huh? Jermaine, hello. Nice to see you. Here is Lando, Abs team total over. Jermaine says like 2.5 with these guys. They're doing so well. Andre says they're so hot. He's going to take a shot. They're too hot. He's going to take a Utah here. Big line there. Mr. Wesker says a 2.5. That team is hot. Here is Andre says only even money for that Avs puck line. I want to say hello and welcome to the King of Cali. He says go under in this one. Okay, King of Cali, nice. I mean, I don't know if I can. King of Cali here, who has made a couple of appearances. I'm going to go with King of Cali. I mean, come on. Comes in here, makes a pick. I'm going with it. King of Cali going under here. I'm going under. This is a pretty much an under series. I know the last one was 4-3, but Timmy Tushu is going to go over. You guys, we're getting to the end here. Believe it or not. What a show, huh? San Jose taking on the Golden Knights here in Las Vegas. Vegas here, a 260 favorite. Total 6. Is that right? I have 225 on the screen, but yeah, those are the sharp books, those are the sharp books. It might be a little bit higher, but I don't know if we're trusting Connor Hart too much yet. Seems like he's not quite getting it going, and the Vegas Golden Knights have lost 3 in a row right now coming in. Losses to New Jersey, Calgary, and Edmonton. They really aren't playing that great. They did they were an underdog in that game against Edmonton. San Jose, meanwhile, with losses to Dallas and Seattle at home coming into this one. Vegas just 14 and 15 as a favorite. They're a bit of a money burner, although 7-4 at home this season for the Sharks here. Look, this is I don't want to say a decent price, but Vegas isn't impressing anybody, it feels like right now here of late. Hopefully Eichel, let me check the injury status because Eichel may be back for this game. Let's see here. Still questionable with that lower body injury. Shea Theodore is out as well. So that's been part of the problem for Vegas is of the injury report here, it feels like, for the most part. Uh, the Sharks have lost 9 straight meetings to Vegas, including 5 straight meetings here overall. Um, uh, in Vegas, I believe. No, the Sharks won once here already this season. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe it was, trying to remember. Maybe it was a preseason game. This one's gone over in 4 of the last 5 meetings between the two teams here. Let me go to the chat. This is probably my least favorite game here, actually, it feels like. Great comments in the chat. You guys are hot now. Okay, let me see here. Don't fade the Sharks, says Mr. Weskers. Sharks puck line for Andrew. Over or Sharks money line for King of Cali because of the Vegas here. Yeah, I mean, well, they are. It's not terrible. Maybe you'd expect Vegas to be a little bit better at home. It doesn't seem like the record really is all that bad here. Yeah, look, I mean, everybody knows Vegas is the king of the overtime. That's what the deal is. They don't win in regulation at home, right? They're 7-4-5. It sounds like a bad soccer team. Andre says, sprinkle it on the Sharks money line. Vegas hasn't covered the puck line in 12 straight home games right now. They're 5-24 on the puck line this season, but they do own this series. Sharks puck line for Jermaine. And King of Cali says only minus 220. Yeah, King of Cali, you know what? That's the circa line. I think most of the other books are at least 240 or higher. Timothy says go with the under in this game. The Sharks are the under team, right? Vegas is kind of the over team, but like I said, the head-to-head has kind of been over. It was 4-3 in each of the previous 2 meetings, I think, here this season that Vegas won. All right. Sharks money line, you know it, for Mr. Weskers. He's taking his Sharks. Andre says parlay the Sharks of the Kraken to the Utah and the Sabres. Lando says take those Sharks and just lay a little bit there. And Andre says Vegas not as good as they used to be. You're probably right, but they've had some injuries as well. And Jermaine, what is he? Oh, he's going. Let's see. I think he's on the basketball segment. Alrighty, I think that's gonna. I guess that's gonna do it for me here in this one. I might have to roll the dice. You guys really got me thinking here, and man, I agree with you guys on this. I'm going to take that Sharks money line. I think that was a great trend there that you guys had. I'll take the Sharks at minus $1.30 there. King of Cali, thank you so much. You're the ones doing the great work in here, and. San Jose, he's going to take Chernisov for an anytime goal there. We've got one more game, and then, man, I need I don't know. It's 2:40 in the morning here in Vegas. I might need a donut run. I might need to go to Pink Box here. All right, let's look at it here with the Kraken taking on the Kings. Looks like Phoenix Copley in here for the Kings right now as their goaltending issue. The injuries continue here right now. Joey Decord for the Kraken. You got another big number here, of course, with the Kings, 15, 11, and 9. They haven't been great. It's the Kraken that have won 2 straight wins over Anaheim and San Jose here. They're on the 4th game of this West Coast road trip up and down here. LA lost to Columbus last night. We were on Columbus here, right, on the show. We took the dog last night. So, man, LA with those struggles for sure. They've gone under in a bunch of games in a row, too. They're 4-11 to the under at home right now. Seattle, yeah, they do trend a little bit over on the road, but you think these Kings right now with their scoring woes a little bit, right? They never get over 2 goals a game. That's their problem on the Kings. They cannot score here, basically averaging 1.67 goals per game in the last 5 games. How are they going score enough goals to win on a puck line, much less an outright win here, right? In this one, Andre says the Kings are good at home. King of Cali says, I like that. I'm a sprinkles guy, so I have to get that blue frosting with the sprinkles on it. But that's what I like is my favorite there. Andrew says the Kings are terrible at home. Let's see here. Timmy says maybe I'll be hitting up the tables a little bit. I went to the new poker room here south of me and had a good time at the Green Valley Ranch poker room this week. Kraken puck line and money line. King of Cali says CBJ and Kraken were easy last night. Lando likes the alternate under here at 5, right? And he says there's more action at Disney on Ice. King of Cali says team total under on the Kraken. Timothy says Kraken have lost the last 17 games of the back-to-back, and they lost that. They beat Anaheim there last night 3-1. And we had let's see, what did we have? Did we have the puck line with the Kraken last night, right? Or did we have the over? I'm trying to remember. All right. That might do it from you guys in the chat. Kings money line for Timothy Huck and Fiala for an anytime goal here for Timmy Chushu. Thanks so much, everybody. I'll make my call. Here comes a few more plays right now. I'm going with the under in this one. I'm not going to mess around here. I was going to use another word. But I'll go with the under with the Kraken here with that Kings problem here. You guys get a little rambunctious in the chat here. I don't go to those type of clubs. All right. Kings here for King of Cali. 4-1. King of Cali. All right. At least the Kings are going to finally score some goals, huh? All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. What a show. We won't spend too much more time here. I'll let you go. Head on over to Tony'sPicks.com. Use the promo code Tony T at checkout. Save 15% off those premium pick packages, including mine here on Tuesday. We got college football, we got NBA, we got college basketball, we got the NHL. It's going to be an awesome night of sports betting, getting ready for the holiday. No Night Moves show tomorrow, believe it or not, with just one bowl game, and I'm probably going to have a premium. I'm not going to give a free. There's one game. It's going to be a premium no matter what. Here, so no show. Have a great day. We'll be back. I'll be back here on Christmas Eve. Spend your Christmas morning with me. When you got to play Santa, getting those bikes built and getting those presents wrapped, that's when you're going to want to join me here. That's when we'll be at 3 Eastern, midnight Pacific, or a little earlier with the show on Christmas early morning. So turn it down low. Don't wake up the kids and listen to me while you're wrapping those gifts. We'll preview the Christmas action in the NFL and NBA here. So it should be a great show. Nice short show. And we'll have a great time together. So make sure you join me here in 45 hours or so, right here. So thank you for spending here 3 hours with, is that right? 2 hours and 45 minutes of nonstop talking. No wonder my family always says, "Hey, Ramon, how come you never talk?" Thanks, everybody. Love all of you here supporting me and everyone on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. Make sure you join Vegas Al, join Rod and the crew, join Tony in the morning crew. Really great to have you guys as part of the Tony's Picks family here. Really appreciate it. King of Cali, Timmy Chushu, Lando, Andrew K, Mr. Weskers, and Andre as well. Thank you, everybody. Awesome here, and I'll catch you back here in a day's time, in 2 days' time. Give Ramon a little time off here, right? I really appreciate it. All right, for the Tony's Picks YouTube channel, I'm Ramon Scott. So long from Night Moves, and Merry Christmas if I don't see you here in a couple of days.